Chapter 1527. There was a flash of axe light, and it was as if space itself was going to be split in half. A heaven-shaking rumble echoed, and all the sounds in the area were suppressed. It also shook the hearts of the invading cultivators from the outer realm. It was as if at this moment all existence in the starry sky, all operations, had been absorbed by this heaven-splitting axe. It was as if the starry sky had dissipated, and the only thing left in the boundless void was this giant axe shadow. There were still many cultivators before Grandmaster Yunluo who hadn't completely retreated yet. Their expressions were filled with shock as the endless axe energy that was almost as large as the sky closed in. The outer realm cultivator at the front was a middle-aged man in black. He only had time to raise his arms to protect himself. His hands formed a seal, and he subconsciously wanted to resist, but the axe directly passed through his body. A line of blood appeared at the center of the middle-aged man's brows and extended through his entire body. His clothes from his chest down were torn apart with a piercing sound. There was still shock on this person's face, and a large amount of blood gushed out from the tear on his body before it suddenly split apart. There were dozens of cultivators behind the middle-aged man. At this moment, it was as if the body-freezing spell had been cast on them. The moment the axe passed by them, their bodies trembled and they stopped in midair. The axe passed by them and their bodies were instantly torn apart. It was impossible to describe the speed of this act. Before the sound of the axe dissipated, the hundreds of outer realm cultivators guarding Grandmaster Yunluo felt their vision blur and could no longer see clearly. Their bodies collapsed one by one along with the echo of the axe. Behind them, the rest of the cultivators remained in the same position as before. They were like statues as they stood motionless within the axe light. It wasn't until the axe light shot out like a meteor that a line of blood appeared on their foreheads and they died one by one. It was as if there was no power that could stop this axe light. It pierced through all the cultivators before it. The moment their bodies were torn apart, the axe light closed in on the deathly pale Grandmaster Yunluo. An extremely rare sense of helplessness filled Grandmaster Yunluo's mind. Her pupils were completely replaced by the monstrous axe light. It was as if everything before her had disappeared and only this killing axe remained. All of this happened too fast. As the axe closed in, Grandmaster Yunluo only had time to bite the tip of her tongue and spit out a mouthful of blood. The blood formed a palm-sized blood shield before her. This blood shield was octagonal in shape, and there were countless fine runes on it that flickered constantly. At the same time that this blood shield appeared, the shocking heaven-splitting axe light directly collided with the blood shield. A thunderous rumble echoed across the star domain. The blood shield was like tofu made by mortals. It was extremely fragile. The runes on it rapidly changed to form a fine net that wanted to stop the axe light. Thunderous rumbles echoed, but the fine net was completely useless. It was cut open by the heaven-splitting axe and landed on the blood shield behind it. With a crack, the shield shattered, allowing the axe to pierce through it. The axe carried with it an aura that seemed like it could shatter space itself as it shot toward Grandmaster Yunluo. She didn't have any time to resist before it cut through her delicate body. The axe light pierced through Grandmaster Yunluo's body and landed on the realm ceiling formation. It tore open a crack and the entire realm ceiling formation trembled. All of this happened in an instant. When the realm ceiling formation trembled, Grandmaster Yunluo coughed out a mouthful of blood and her body was split in half. With a bang, she turned into two pieces of cloud cloth that fell to the side. If the two pieces of cloud cloth were connected, they would look like a doll a mortal child would play with. This doll had eyes and a nose, and it looked exactly like Grandmaster Yunluo. It's actually an avatar. Wang Lin stepped forward and arrived where Grandmaster Yunluo was. His eyes were filled with killing intent as he stared at the two pieces of cloud cloth. He waved his left hand and a monstrous flame appeared and burned the two pieces of cloud cloth. Even if it's an avatar, I can still find your original body. Wang Lin was determined to kill Grandmaster Yun Luo. The moment he noticed that it wasn't her original body, Wang Lin's left hand formed a seal and the two pieces of burning puppet collapsed. However, the moment it collapsed, two ghostly threads were pulled out by Wang Lin's spell and anchored together. They moved like two snakes and formed a vortex. Use the soul to guide pass. With a roar, the vortex formed by the two ghostly threads before Wang Lin formed a black hole. The black hole continued to rotate, and it was unknown where it led to. However, just as the black hole appeared, the thunder tattoo in Wang Lin's right eye flashed. The 9 bolts of G-realm thunder that were sealed by Wang Lin charged out from Wang Lin's right eye. Without any hesitation, it charged into the black hole. At the same time, behind the G-realm thunder, the fire essence fused into the thunder, and the thunder and fire anchored each other. In the ancient star system, one of the 3 forbidden lands of the Sovereign Council. This was a spatial rift that didn't exist in space. It was a holy land passed down by Grandmaster Yun Luo's ancestor. The lake was clear, and there was an island inside. Grandmaster Yun Luo was sitting in the pavilion on the island. Her long, black hair was draped over her shoulders. Her face was pale and her eyes were closed. When her avatar was killed by Wang Lin, her body trembled and she coughed out a mouthful of blood. The blood turned into a bloody mist and drifted away. There were even a few drops that fell on her white clothes. It was a ghastly sight. She opened her eyes, and they were filled with terror. However, her expression suddenly changed once more. She suddenly raised her head and saw a black vortex appear out of nowhere like a black hole in the sky above the island she was on. The moment the vortex appeared, a rumble of thunder echoed across the world. This thunder was red, and the moment it appeared, it dyed the world blood red. A bolt of red lightning shot toward the island Grandmaster Yun Luo was sitting on. As the red lightning descended, it grew larger and larger. In an instant, it turned into a bolt of lightning that was hundreds of meters long. From afar, it looked like the wrath of the heavens had descended, a bolt of lightning that wanted to destroy everything on the island. The pressure of a pinnacle realm cultivator spread out from the red lightning. With an earth-shattering rumble, the red lightning landed on the island. The entire island trembled. After the lightning, endless flames surged up, covering the entire island. From afar, it looked like a sea of fire was burning. Even the water in the surrounding lakes dissipated under the sea of fire, turning into a large amount of white gas that rose into the sky. Thunder and fire intersected, and the island trembled violently as if it had been smashed by a giant hammer. It shattered into countless pieces and scattered in all directions. 3 signs of heavenly lightning descend. 4 signs of a sea of fire burn. 5 signs of an island separate. Grandmaster Yun Luo sat cross-legged on the island at the center. The pavilion behind her released a gentle light that enveloped her. Inside the light, she coughed out another mouthful of blood. Her face was ashen as she looked bitterly at the world. The ancestor's divination has formed 5 signs. Just at this moment, the G-realm thunder collapsed under the sea of fire and rushed toward Grandmaster Yun Luo from all directions. This scene was like countless blood snakes moving about, and it was extremely shocking. The red lightning that was like snakes rapidly shrank and closed in on the gentle light around Grandmaster Yun Luo. Thunderous rumbles echoed, and the red lightning collided with the gentle light. The gentle light distorted and was forced to condense. In the end, it could only stop dozens of feet away from Grandmaster Yun Luo. It flickered violently as it tried to resist the G-realm thunder. However, this gentle light was obviously no match for it. It only resisted for a few breaths of time before collapsing. This allowed the endless red lightning to rush toward Grandmaster Yun Luo's original body. The moment the red lightning closed in, Grandmaster Yun Luo bitterly waved her jade-like hand and a black skeleton appeared before her. This skeleton gave off an ancient aura. It was her teacher's skeleton. As soon as the bone appeared, the surrounding red lightning seemed to be attracted to it. Thunderous rumbles echoed out as the bone trembled and then collapsed. The sixth ancestor's skeleton shatters. The seventh ancestor's soul fuses. The eighth ancestor's autumn orchid awakens. The ninth ancestor. Grandmaster Yun Luo's voice gradually dissipated. After her teacher's skeleton absorbed all the red lightning, it turned into a storm that wrapped around Grandmaster Yun Luo. His body collapsed and even his origin soul collapsed. However, his soul fused into the storm formed by the skeleton and disappeared with the storm in a flash of ghostly light. In the Cloud Sea battlefield, Wang Lin held the giant axe in his hand as he stood in the air. His gaze was like lightning as he looked at the invading Outer Realm cultivators. There was a flash of killing intent in his eyes. The poison sea roared and swept across the stars. The tens of thousands of mosquito beasts let out ferocious roars as they charged toward the surrounding 100,000 cultivators. In the distance, a large amount of ripples appeared. 1, 2, 3. A total of more than 900 cultivation planets appeared. The Luo Tian cultivators' reinforcements had arrived. Even further away, bolts of lightning suddenly appeared out of nowhere in the pitch-black starry sky. They directly tore apart the starry sky and rapidly poured out. There were not just a few bolts of lightning, but countless bolts of lightning. The summoned river cultivators' reinforcements had arrived. This was to make up for what they owed them yesterday. Chapter 1528. There were cultivators from the summoned river standing on those bolts of lightning. Some bolts of lightning had only one person, some had more than 10, and some even had more than 100. These cultivators from the summoned river had never appeared in the other 3 star systems, but the moment they appeared, they shook the starry sky. The bolts of lightning rumbled and moved so fast that they couldn't be seen with the naked eye. The clothes of these cultivators were a bit strange, as if they were soldiers. They had their own uniforms, and although they weren't exactly the same, they seemed to come from different countries. However, there was one thing that was extremely strange, and that was that most of these cultivators were female cultivators. This was extremely rare in the Luo Tian, the Cloud Sea, and the Alliance. Among the tens of thousands of summoned river cultivators, there were less than a few thousand male cultivators. The summoned river cultivators all had serious expressions on their faces, revealing determination and killing intent. Although they had the bodies of orioles, the killing intent they gave off wasn't any weaker. A scholar wearing a long robe stood in front of the summoned river cultivator on a bolt of lightning that looked like a dragon. His hair fluttered in the wind, revealing an extremely beautiful face. Beside her was a beautiful middle-aged woman who silently arrived on a bolt of lightning. As for the Luo Tian reinforcements, a large amount of Luo Tian cultivators surrounded the cultivation planets that appeared from the ripples. They came from various families, but at this moment, they were all united. Master Lu Fu was in front with a gloomy expression. His eyes were filled with monstrous, killing intent as he waved his sleeves and his broken sword flew out. At this moment, they were no longer summoned river cultivators or Luo Tian cultivators. They only had one name, and that was Outer Realm cultivators. The appearance of the reinforcements from the Luo Tian and summoned river made the remaining thousands of cultivators in the Cloud Sea even more excited. They were already unafraid of death, and now that reinforcements had appeared, they became even more excited. On the other hand, although the invading Outer Realm cultivators had the advantage in numbers, their minds were shaken. Under the impact of the poison sea and mosquito beasts, miserable screams echoed and they all retreated. In this way, it was like they had been utterly defeated, and Wang Lin's roar was like a heavy blow that shattered the Outer Realm cultivators' will to resist. The Fire Sparrow clan's ancestor is dead. The third step Almighty Nanzhao was dead. The Sovereign Council's Grandmaster Yun Luo was dead. You're next. Wang Lin's eyes were bloodshot as he stepped forward, swinging his heaven-splitting axe. Rumbling filled the starry sky, and rotting corpses filled the air. Master South Cloud was fighting with the celestial imperial concubine. At this moment, the woman from the summoned river dressed as a man, when two, closed in like lightning. Fellow cultivator South Cloud, leave this person to purple dream. The scholar in the long robe spoke softly. She waved her jade-like hand and immediately entered the battlefield. Master South Cloud laughed and retreated. He no longer looked at the celestial imperial concubine and rushed into the realm sealing formation with Ling Dong and Zhou Jin to repair it. Cheap servant, why isn't your elder sister coming? The pupils of the celestial imperial concubine in red shrank. She let out a cold snort and the two of them quickly attacked. Thunderous rumbles echoed, but it was difficult to determine a winner. The woman in the long robe was calm and softly said, "Elder sister will come soon. You can wait a bit." On Master Hongshan's side, the beautiful middle-aged woman and Master Lu Fu entered the battle. This caused Master Hongshan to relax a bit, but the cold-looking boy's expression became gloomy. The charge of Luo Tian and the summoned river cultivators caused the already scattered outer realm cultivators to die even more. The sounds they let out before they died became an eternal echo. Although most of the summoned river cultivators were female cultivators, their attacks were ruthless enough to move people. Their specialty was speed. In this starry sky, bolts of lightning moved crazily. The summoned river female cultivators displayed their strongest attacks as summoned river cultivators. On Luo Tian's side, thunderous rumbles echoed under the formation formed by more than 900 planets. Illusory planets filled the star system and smashed down on the outer realm cultivators. The outer realm cultivators that were hit by the poison sea fury holes all let out miserable screams as their bodies melted and they died. A large amount of cultivators were attacked by the mosquito beasts. They were sucked dry of their blood and origin souls, turning them into dried corpses. They were continuously forced to retreat. Nearly 10,000 outer realm cultivators had died in this short period of contact, and they had to retreat. Their confidence had collapsed after Wang Lin had killed the three people. They no longer dared to fight. When they arrived, they were filled with confidence. In their view, the inner realm cultivators were just a group of ants. They had come to kill and steal, and the inner realm couldn't put up much resistance. In fact, after they entered the inner realm, a large amount of Cloud Sea cultivators had died, and this had caused the outer realm cultivators to be very excited. However, right now, all the outer realm cultivators bitterly knew that they had failed. They had underestimated the outer realm cultivators. They had underestimated the life force a person could unleash when their home was invaded. The death of the Fire Sparrow clan ancestor had shaken their confidence in winning. Esteemed Nanzhao's miserable scream had collapsed their courage to continue fighting. In the end, Grandmaster Yun Luo's death had completely disintegrated their determination. Their previous confidence had turned into monstrous fear. "We've lost this battle." The outer realm cultivators scattered in panic. They retreated like crazy and were about to charge into the realm sealing formation. They were afraid and wanted to leave the inner realm. In their view, the inner realm cultivators were like madmen. They didn't care about their own lives at all, they only cared about killing one more person before they died. The poison sea roared, the mosquito beasts roared, the Cloud Sea cultivators didn't fear death. The Luo Tian cultivators charged, and the bolts of lightning formed a giant net of slaughter. Wang Lin held the heaven-splitting axe and brazenly moved forward. With every step he took, cultivators would collapse and die. His white robe had already turned blood-red. As he moved forward, Wang Lin's body flickered, and he turned into a fog that devoured everything before him. The fog he turned into was 100,000 feet wide, and as it charged forward, a large amount of cultivators were surrounded. Miserable screams echoed as all the cultivators' power was sucked away. They all turned into blood and died. Counterattack, this was a counterattack. Just like when the Cloud Sea cultivators were slaughtered, the inner realm began this tragic battle. This was their final counterattack. Under the charge of the Luo Tian and summoned river cultivators, the Outer Realm army suffered even more casualties. In particular, the mosquito beasts and poisoned sea were like deadly storms. More and more people died. Of the more than 100,000 Outer Realm cultivators, only less than 80,000 remained. Just at this moment, the third wave of the army from planet Taiji appeared. They appeared outside the realm sealing formation and were about to charge in. Two mid-stage Nirvana Void third-step cultivators were right in front of them. They were about to lead the third wave of nearly 50,000 cultivators in. Once they entered, the defeated Outer Realm cultivators would definitely have the will to resist. Even before the third wave of the Outer Realm army entered, just their roars caused the Outer Realm cultivators, who were filled with fear, to show signs of retreating. As Wang Lin slaughtered, there was a flash of coldness in his eyes. He stepped forward and turned into a vortex. He broke through the space before him and appeared inside the giant gap in the realm sealing formation. He stood inside the gap and waved his right hand. His cold voice spread in all directions. With Wang here, unless I die, no one can take half a step into my inner realm. As he spoke, popping sounds came from Wang Lin's body and his body began to swell. His 7-star ancient god body appeared among the stars. His 10,000-foot body was extremely large. In the eyes of all the cultivators, it was enough to move them. Outside the realm sealing formation, the third wave of the Outer Realm army rushed in. They didn't know about Wang Lin's power. Although they were shocked by Wang Lin's large body, they showed no fear. Their eyes were filled with greed and madness as they charged at Wang Lin like locusts. Wang Lin stood there by himself and coldly looked at the incoming Outer Realm cultivators. Among them, there were 2 third-step cultivators calmly looking at him. He waved his right hand, and as the third wave of cultivators closed in, he let out a roar. Kill! As the roar echoed, an ethereal firestorm shot out from Wang Lin's left eye toward the thousands of cultivators. In an instant, monstrous flames appeared and the cultivators all retreated with miserable screams. Their bodies burned and they instantly turned to ashes. Kill! As he roared once more, the thunder tattoo in Wang Lin's right eye flashed and endless thunder rushed out from his body. From a distance, the endless thunder turned into a sea of thunder and spread like crazy. All the cultivators who were affected by it collapsed at the same time. The expressions of the 2 third-step cultivators changed greatly. Without hesitation, they charged at Wang Lin. Kill! Wang Lin let out a third roar and placed the heaven-splitting axe above his head. He jumped into the air and mercilessly chopped down. With this chop, the 7 ancient god stars between Wang Lin's eyebrows rumbled as if they were going to explode. All of his ancient god power surged out. This chop was Wang Lin's killing blow to break the last sliver of confidence of the Outer Realm cultivators. With this chop, the heaven-splitting axe flew out from Wang Lin's hand and charged forward. I've made up for yesterday and am still in the hotel. Tomorrow I'll go home. I'm not used to writing outside, but no matter what, I'll write another chapter. I'm sorry, fellow cultivators. Let's see Ear's performance when we get home. No matter how much I say now, it's useless. Congratulations, Qing Guan, Rock, Scissors Cloth, Little Long In, Little Spring Village, Scoundrel Jianghu, 009LM. Now Read and Pay has become a third-step cultivator and helped Wang Lin in the first battle of the Sealed Realm. Ear is extremely honored and thanks for coming late. Gift me a nether beast and a heaven-splitting axe to express my gratitude. Chapter 1529. The power of this chop passed through Wang Lin's low D hole as if it was splitting the world. The heaven-splitting axe in Wang Lin's right hand expanded tens of thousands of times and seemed to occupy space itself. As it chopped down, a giant rift appeared out of thin air. This rift rushed out of the gap in the realm sealing formation and charged forward. The 2 third-step cultivators were filled with fear. At this moment of crisis, they no longer resisted and quickly dodged to the side. However, their speed was still somewhat slow before the giant axe. Just as they were about to dodge, the heaven-splitting axe passed by and blood sprayed everywhere. The 2/3 step cultivators coughed out blood mist at the same time. Their arms were separated from their bodies by the heaven-splitting axe. Their faces were pale, and in their shock, they no longer dared to fight. They quickly retreated and fled into the sky. Although the two of them were seriously injured and managed to dodge, the third wave of cultivators didn't have the power to dodge. As the heaven-splitting axe moved forward, a large amount of deaths occurred. There were no screams, only collapse and disintegration. A giant rift 10,000 feet wide appeared among the tens of thousands of cultivators after the heaven-splitting axe passed by. This rift was empty with only the smell of blood. From a distance, the heaven-splitting axe pierced through the army of cultivators and flew toward the ancient star system. It didn't dissipate until it traveled 1,000,000 feet. The outer realm was completely silent. The third wave of outer realm cultivators stared dumbfoundedly at the rift created by the heaven-splitting axe. Their hearts trembled. In the inner realm, all the invading cultivators that were paying attention to this battle revealed expressions of despair. Anyone who enters the inner realm will die. Wang Lin's right hand formed a fist as he coldly stared at the ancient star system outside the realm sealing formation. His voice was like the cold wind. Just at this moment, a sound like a horn came from the ancient star system. It passed through the rift in the realm sealing formation and spread into the inner realm. The moment this horn sounded, the third group of cultivators outside the sealed realm formation seemed to awaken from their shock. They looked at Wang Lin standing at the gap in the formation with a complicated expression. They remembered Wang Lin's appearance in their hearts. After one glance, the third wave of cultivators silently retreated. They no longer charged toward the realm sealing formation but toward the ancient star system. The whimpering sound of the horn spread into the inner realm and entered the ears of the tens of thousands of cultivators. They silently retreated even faster toward the crack in the realm sealing formation. They quickly retreated with the memories of the inner realm cultivators and the shadow of Wang Lin that could never be erased. However, Wang Lin was standing inside the gap in the realm sealing formation. Aside from blocking the third wave of outer realm cultivators, he also indirectly blocked the only way for the ancient star system cultivators to leave. You killed tens of thousands of my Cloud Sea cultivators. How can you all just come and go as you please? Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he didn't yield even half a step. The Luo Tian cultivators, the Summoned River cultivators, the Cloud Sea cultivators, the Poison Sea, and tens of thousands of mosquito beasts all charged at the outer realm cultivators that wanted to retreat. Thunderous rumbles echoed, and even more outer realm cultivators died. In despair, these outer realm cultivators erupted with madness. They desperately charged toward the gap in the realm sealing formation where Wang Lin was. They wanted to rush out, they wanted to return to the ancient star system. Tens of thousands of cultivators charged, and the inner realm cultivators chased after them. At this moment, all of them were charging toward where Wang Lin was. The ethereal fire burned the bodies of all the outer realm cultivators within 10,000 feet of Wang Lin. Just as they closed in, Master South Cloud's restoration of the formation was coming to an end. The gap in the realm sealing formation was closing at a fast speed. This made the ancient star system cultivators even more crazy. As they closed in, Wang Lin's ethereal fire was extremely hot. No cultivator could get within 5,000 feet of Wang Lin. Standing there, he was like a heaven-sealing gate that no one could cross. The cold-looking boy, the celestial imperial concubine, and the remaining outer realm third step cultivators were anxious, but they were blocked by Master Hong Shan and company, so they couldn't stop them. The intensity of this battle was something Wang Lin had never seen in his life. Far too many cultivators had died in this battle. Even with Wang Lin's life of slaughter, he felt sadness in his heart. As he pondered, he raised his right hand and waved. The more than 10 ancient leaves flew out toward the outer realm cultivators. These more than 10 ancient leaves formed more than 10 layers of seals. They formed an unbreakable barrier that surrounded the tens of thousands of outer realm cultivators, making it impossible for them to escape. The Luo Tian cultivators, the female cultivators from the Summoned River, and the thousands of Cloud Sea cultivators had all killed. Their casualties were heavy, and if not for the poison sea and the mosquito beasts, it would have been even more difficult for them. I want all of you ancient star system cultivators that entered the inner realm to die. Leave no one alive. Wang Lin's words were filled with determination. After he used the ancient leaves, his right hand formed a seal and endless restrictions appeared. The outer realm cultivators that were sealed were filled with despair as they continued to slaughter. If they had known that this would happen, they would never have dared to step into the inner realm. Just as the restriction appeared in Wang Lin's right hand and hadn't completely formed, a sigh came from Taiji. What appeared after the sigh was a flash of blue light from outside the realm sealing formation. A person slowly walked out from the blue light. Wang Lin was familiar with this sigh. When he heard it, his heart sank and he turned around. As the gap in the realm sealing formation rapidly closed, he saw the middle-aged man walking out from the blue light in the ancient star system. The middle-aged man looked at Wang Lin and slowly said, "Let them come back." Tao Master Blue Dream. The pupils of Master South Cloud, who was repairing the formation, shrank. Tao Master Blue Dream's cultivation level had reached the peak of arcane void. He, Master South Cloud, was not his match. The terror of someone at the peak of arcane void was indescribable. Among the 5 masters of ancient star system, not even Devil Master Nine Heavens and Tao Master Miao Yin could compare to Tao Master Blue Dream. There was always a gap between their cultivation levels, and this gap was like a ravine. No one could make the sovereign change his plans. Miao Yin couldn't, Nine Heavens couldn't, but Tao Master Blue Dream could. Master Hongshan, who was battling the cold-looking boy, also revealed a serious expression. Tao Master Blue Dream's name was simply too big. Wang Lin's right hand paused for a moment as he silently looked at the middle-aged man. The sounds of battle still echoed in his ears, and after a long time, he shook his head. "I don't want to attack you. Based on my kindness to you, let them come back. This first battle is my ancient star system's loss. Don't make it difficult for me." The middle-aged man's expression was still calm. His voice wasn't loud, but it contained a pressure that couldn't be refused. The sounds of battle slowly dissipated. Aside from Master Hongshan and company, who were still fighting, most of the cultivators looked at Wang Lin as if they were waiting for his answer. Wang Lin's contribution in this battle had made the inner realm cultivators respect him as the Lord of the Sealed Realm. Although his cultivation level wasn't as high as Master Hongshan and company's, in the eyes of the inner realm cultivators, he was worthy of being the Lord of the Sealed Realm. Wang Lin silently pondered as he looked at the middle-aged man. A moment later, he bowed deeply and looked up with a decisive gaze. He waved his right hand and the 1,000,000 restrictions rumbled. At this moment, the 1,000,000 restrictions in the inner realm condensed to form a giant umbrella. As the ribs of the umbrella appeared, the canopy of the umbrella also spread out. Vaguely, a realm-burning ancient umbrella suddenly appeared. Tao Master Blue Dream looked profoundly at Wang Lin and shook his head with a sigh. "For my daughter, I taught you spells when you first came to the ancient star system so you could avoid the celestial imperial concubines. This is the first time. The sovereign used fishing the moon in the well. This is the second time. Today is the third time. However, Wang Lin, you have to remember that there will be no fourth time. The fourth time I'll act." Tao Master Blue Dream withdrew his gaze and ignored everything. There was a flash of blue light and he disappeared. The moment it disappeared, the inner realm's sky-burning ancient umbrella completely appeared. Before the umbrella even opened, a monstrous destructive fire appeared. It seemed to be eternal and inextinguishable. Looking at the direction Tao Master Blue Dream left, the faint shadow of a woman appeared before Wang Lin. The woman was shaking her head and smiling at him. Those words from hundreds of years ago echoed in his mind. Forget each other in the world. The loss of vitality seemed to scatter the woman's shadow in Wang Lin's eyes. It was as if the woman's shadow had rushed out along with Tao Master Blue Light's words. It was as if the woman's shadow had entered the sky-burning ancient umbrella and turned into a force to support the umbrella's opening. As the thunderous rumbles echoed, the realm-burning umbrella slowly opened. A destructive fire spread across the stars and turned into a sea of fire. Countless cultivators struggled inside the sea of fire. Their distorted faces seemed to want to drill into Wang Lin's eyes. The first battle of the Outer Realm invasion had caused both sides to pay a heavy price. It seemed like it was time for the realm-burning umbrella to end. However, just at this moment, a killing intent that shocked Wang Lin rushed out from the ancient star system and locked onto the spot between Wang Lin's eyebrows. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed, and he turned to look at the gap in the realm's ceiling formation that had closed to less than 1,000 feet. He saw a person, a man in white. He was holding a bow in his hand, and at this moment, the bow was drawn and pointed at Wang Lin. The sovereign's head disciple, Thumb Feng Yi. Wang Lin had seen this bow before. I'm flying tomorrow morning and will arrive home around noon. I promised 80 updates this month, so there will be no less. I'm very grateful to all the fellow cultivators I met on this trip, especially those from the Alliance. Thank you. Chapter 1530. Dao Ili Guang. The bow he held in his hand when he shot down Dao Yi's left eye. It was a bow that shook the heavens and the earth and seized the peak of creation. It broke through Dao Ji's great Taoist technique with a loud bang and directly plucked out Dao Ji's left eye, taking away Dao Ji's longing for his hometown and half of his memories. This bow was terrifying. When Wang Lin sat on that chair in the ancient order tomb, he clearly saw Li Guang's peerless power. That arrow was enough to shake space. In Wang Lin's view, even the realm's ceiling formation would collapse before it without any power to stop it. This bow didn't belong to this world. It was a great treasure from his hometown. This was the most powerful treasure Wang Lin had seen aside from the heaven-defying bead and the compass pointer from the Fallen Land. How could Wang Lin not be shocked by this kind of treasure? His pupils shrank and he felt an indescribable chill spread through his body. The spot between his eyebrows felt like it had been split open, and bursts of pain came from it. All the hair on his body stood up and a sense of life and death crisis appeared in his mind and rapidly spread. This bow was taken away by the seven-colored Taoist that raised the heavenly Tao, and now it is in his hands. This person is the sovereign's head disciple. Could the sovereign have some connection with the seven-colored Taoist? Wang Lin stared at the young man in white with a cold gaze. The young man's face was rapidly withering as all of his life force entered his right hand. It was as if the bowstring was absorbing his life force or pulling the bow by force. In this world, aside from the seven-colored Taoist, perhaps only Wang Lin knew the origin of this bow and had seen its power. When the others saw his serious expression, many questions arose in their minds. From an outsider's point of view, the young man in white was at the early stage of nirvana void. The bow in his hand was very ordinary. There was no fluctuation coming from it, as if it was an ordinary bow. Wang Lin's expression was solemn. He forcibly suppressed the throbbing of his heart, causing him to enter a state of emptiness. It was as if everything in the world had disappeared, leaving only him and the slowly drawn bow. Fortunately, this bow had no arrows. After the only arrow shot down Gu Dao's left eye, it shattered the void with Gu Dao's left eye. No one knew if that shocking arrow still existed or where it was. In Wang Lin's mind, if he could find this arrow, he might be able to find the ancient order's left eye. However, this kind of arrow, unless it was found in an uninhabited void, once someone obtained it, Their name would be known throughout the universe. It might even cause a calamity, no less than the battle for the heaven-defying bead. However, up until now, Wang Lin had not heard of any ancient rumors about that arrow. It was as if the arrow had completely disappeared. There was no trace of it at all. Although the bow without the arrow was still terrifying, it couldn't reach the terrifying level Wang Lin had seen in the past. If it wasn't for this, even if Wang Lin gave it his all, he wouldn't have any chance of surviving. He stared at the white-robed young man. All of the white-robed young man's actions slowed down in Wang Lin's eyes. He watched the white-robed young man slowly pull the bowstring until it was like a full moon. The pain from between his eyebrows increased greatly. Under the intense pain, Wang Lin felt like an awl had pierced through his skull and into his brain. Sweat came out from Wang Lin's forehead. All of this happened the moment Wang Lin turned around and saw the young man in white draw the bow. Without any hesitation, the moment he saw the bow, a monstrous roar came from Wang Lin's body. He suddenly took a step back and his body became blurry, as if he was going to merge with the world. At the same time, Wang Lin quickly raised his hands and the ancient god's stars between his eyebrows rotated like crazy. The 7 stars rotated horizontally in front of him and emitted a powerful ancient god aura. As the ancient god aura spread, the T-star in front of Wang Lin began to rotate and a head appeared. All of this happened in an instant. Wang Lin used all of his speed and set up everything the moment his body became blurry and was about to dissipate. His reaction was too fast. Even the young man in white was startled when he saw Wang Lin's actions. There was a flash of coldness in his eyes. Could it be that he recognizes this bow? At the same time this thought appeared in the young man in white's mind, he let go of the bowstring. As the bowstring vibrated, there was a buzzing sound. At first, the sound was still weak, but a shocking ray of light shot out from the bow. The left hand of the white-robed young man that held the bow was originally full of flesh and blood, but in an instant, the flesh and blood rapidly withered. Not only his left arm, but most of the young man's body was like a skeleton. However, it was hidden under the loose robe, so others could not see it clearly. It was as if most of his life force had surged into the bow the moment he released it. As the light shined brightly, it turned into a milky white, illusory arrow. As he released the bowstring, the arrow shot out with a rumble. This arrow was very fast and instantly broke through the world toward the gap in the realm's ceiling formation that was less than 500 feet wide. The moment the illusory arrow closed in on the gap, the previously weak howl reached its peak and turned into a howl that caused space itself to tremble. As the howl echoed, all the cultivators inside the realm's ceiling formation, whether it was the inner or outer realm, felt their minds tremble. It was as if all their minds and origin energy had been sucked away by the howl. At the same time, these cultivators began to bleed from their orifices. Some of the seriously injured cultivators on both sides couldn't withstand the howl and coughed out blood. Their origin souls immediately collapsed and died. The howl of this arrow caused Master Hongshan, Master South Cloud, and the other third-step cultivators to stop fighting. They all looked up and were filled with shock. Only the celestial imperial concubine and the woman from the summoned river, Purple Dream, revealed a hint of unconcealable fear in their eyes when they saw the bow. This bow is actually in his hands. The howl was heaven-shaking as the illusory white arrow entered through the gap in the realm's ceiling formation. The moment it entered, even the realm's ceiling formation trembled. The trembling wasn't limited to this area, but the entire realm's ceiling formation. At this moment, all of the realm's ceiling formation that covered the entire inner realm began to tremble violently. The flight was at 7 a.m., so I had to leave the hotel for the airport before 5 a.m. This night, I didn't sleep at all. I endured the sleepiness and forced myself to stay awake. I know myself, if I sleep like a dead pig, I won't be able to wake up at 5 a.m. I really clenched my teeth and wrote 2,000 words. Once I returned home in the day, I'll take a break and continue writing the second chapter. The second chapter is 4,000 words. If I'm still in my best condition, I'll try my best to write a small explosion 3 times, but I can't guarantee I can do it. There's still more than an hour. I'll endure. It's really painful. Stop fighting with your eyelids. We're all family, why kill each other? Chapter 1531. If it was in the past, it would have immediately caused the formation spirit to appear. However, at this moment, a crazy will that seemed to have existed for eternity erupted from the arrow. Under the pressure of this crazy will, the formation spirit retreated for a moment. It was as if it didn't dare to appear. As the tremor spread, the 500-foot gap that was closing stopped closing. It was as if it had been frozen, allowing the white arrow to pass through and shoot toward Wang Lin. At this moment, Wang Lin's mind was completely focused, and he forgot everything else. The only thing in his eyes was the white arrow. His body quickly dissipated as he retreated. The intense pain between his eyebrows made it feel as if 2 invisible hands were digging into his flesh and trying to pry his head open. The white arrow rushed through the realm-sealing formation and was less than 1,000 feet from Wang Lin. The howl of the arrow was extremely sharp and contained an unspeakable killing intent. This caused the faces of all the cultivators inside the formation to turn pale. 1,000 feet of distance was simply insignificant to this arrow. As the roar echoed, the ancient head formed by the 7 stars before Wang Lin began to distort violently as if an indescribably powerful force was closing in. This arrow was meant to kill. In an instant, the arrow closed in and shot into the ancient head. A thunderous rumble echoed across the world. Even Wang Lin's ancient head couldn't resist the power of this arrow for long. The spot between the eyebrows of the ancient head collapsed, and the arrow was about to pierce through and close in on Wang Lin. Wang Lin's body hadn't completely merged with the world yet. As the white arrow closed in, the sense of life and death crisis increased. Wang Lin revealed a decisive gaze and his hands slammed forward. The 2 arms of his ancient god body fused into the head of the ancient order head and clamped down on the white arrow that contained the power to destroy the heavens. The moment his hands touched the white arrow, Wang Lin felt a powerful force enter his body through his arms. Even with his 7-star ancient god body, it was difficult for him to resist. His body trembled and he coughed out a mouthful of blood. He was forced out of his half-merged state by this force, and was forced to retreat into the distance. Every step he retreated several dozen feet, and every step he took caused a thunderous rumble. Wang Lin's expression was ferocious and his eyes were bloodshot. His hands clamped onto the white arrow and he retreated 10,000 feet. Fresh blood continued to gush out. He continuously coughed out mouthfuls of blood as he retreated. His body was already injured to begin with, and now he was even more injured. Thunderous rumbles echoed once more. As Wang Lin retreated, he entered the area where the ancient leaves sealed the invading outer realm cultivators. The moment he entered, Wang Lin didn't hesitate at all. Countless strands of black fog appeared behind him and spread out like tentacles. All the outer realm cultivators that were touched let out miserable screams and their bodies turned into dry corpses. Their vitality was absorbed by the black fog and entered Wang Lin's body. Although all of this sounds slow, it happened in a flash. Just as Wang Lin was using this method to resist the white light, the man in white outside the realm-sealing formation pulled the bow once more with a gloomy expression. "It's time to end this." As the white-robed man spoke those 4 words, his face rapidly aged. He had already turned from a young man to an old man. The bow in his hand was drawn like a full moon, and with a hum, he released the string. A second white arrow shot out with a thunderous roar. A sharp howl echoed as the arrow charged into the gap in the realm-sealing formation toward Wang Lin. 1 arrow was already enough to put Wang Lin at a disadvantage. 2 arrows was life or death for him. Wang Lin's pupils shrank and the fire in his left eye rotated like crazy. The thunder tattoo in his right eye rotated rapidly and his source origin energy erupted from his body. At this moment, he didn't have time to think too much. He only knew that if he couldn't destroy the first arrow before the second one arrived, he would without a doubt die. Just as the thunderous rumbles echoed across the star system, an aura filled with madness appeared in the distance. This aura was still far away, but it instantly closed in on Wang Lin. A barefoot, middle-aged man appeared and stood before Wang Lin. Wang Lin recognized this barefoot man. It was the peerless beast sealed by the Lord of the Sealed Realm, Tai Aluo. For some unknown reason, he had chosen to face the second arrow in exchange for a precious chance of survival for Wang Lin. The moment he appeared, Tai Aluo let out a heaven-shaking roar. His hands formed a seal, and he charged at the second arrow. As he formed a seal, dense scales appeared on Tai Aluo's body. These scales were salty black, and they covered Tai Aluo's entire body. "I can only delay you for 3 breaths of time." A thunderous rumble echoed in the world as his hands collided with the second arrow. A shocking force entered Tai Aluo's body and caused his entire body to tremble. Blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth, and the arms he used to block the arrow became twisted. It was as if they could not withstand the force and were about to be broken by the white arrow. With a roar, Tai Aluo's body trembled and the scales that had just appeared separated from his body. The scales quickly formed a shield. There were 3 strange golden scales at the center of the shield. As the shield flew out, Tai Aluo's hands collapsed and became a bloody mess. The second arrow rushed over and collided with the shield. A heaven-shaking rumble echoed once more. As the scale shield trembled, the scales around it exploded and disintegrated layer by layer. In the blink of an eye, only the 3 golden scales remained. 1 disaster, 2 breaths. In 2 breaths of time, the 3 golden scales collapsed and were knocked back. Tai Aluo smiled wryly and quickly dodged. The second arrow wasn't locked onto him, which was why he was able to retreat after losing. Including the time from before, Tai Aluo had indeed managed to stall for 3 breaths of time. These 3 breaths of time were extremely precious to Wang Lin. During the first breath, Wang Lin bit the tip of his tongue and spat out a mouthful of blood. During the second breath, the destructive fire that descended from the realm-burning umbrella in the galaxy charged at him from all directions. As it surrounded his body, it charged at the blood he coughed out from the tip of his tongue. As it fused with the blood, it turned into a destructive power that fought against the first arrow he held between his hands. During the third breath, the black fog behind Wang Lin spread like crazy and shrouded all the outer realm cultivators behind him. The moment the 3 breaths of time ended, the first arrow was hit by the destructive fire from Wang Lin's ancient god blood. The arrow disintegrated layer by layer, but its impact was still terrifying. As it continued to disintegrate, only a section the size of 2 arrows remained. It broke through Wang Lin's hand and charged toward the spot between his eyebrows. As it moved forward, the section the size of 2 arrows disintegrated once more. When it was 3 inches from Wang Lin's eyebrows, it was only the size of 1 arrow. There was a thunderous bang and this small arrow collided with the spot between Wang Lin's eyebrows. Miserable screams echoed across the world, but they didn't come from Wang Lin, they came from the outer realm cultivators behind him. All the outer realm cultivators shrouded by the black fog withered and turned into corpses. With a bang, the arrow collapsed and Wang Lin's body was soaked in sweat. However, the crisis wasn't over, the second arrow closed in. Unable to dodge, Wang Lin's eyes were filled with madness. He let out a roar and pointed at the sky. At this moment of crisis, he couldn't care about anything else. His right hand reached out and the realm-burning umbrella suddenly descended. As it descended, it shrank and was grabbed by Wang Lin. Holding the umbrella, all of Wang Lin's vitality rapidly flowed into the umbrella. The lucky god body was full of vitality, and at this moment of life and death, Wang Lin didn't have time to think too much. His vitality rapidly poured in and his ancient god body showed signs of withering. The realm-burning umbrella was originally opened 10%, and as Wang Lin poured in his vitality like crazy, a monstrous fire appeared. When the second arrow was less than 100 feet from Wang Lin let out a roar. He raised his left hand and mercilessly opened the umbrella in his right hand. 20%. At this instant, the ancient umbrella was opened twice by Wang Lin's suicidal method. The destructive fire came with a heat that could destroy a star system, and with Wang Lin as the center, the sea of fire rumbled. The star system collapsed as if it was being refined, and a void appeared. The moment the second arrow closed in, it collided with the fire from the umbrella. Thunderous rumbles echoed, and the second arrow trembled as if it was about to melt. However, there was a force from the bow that allowed the arrow to charge into the sea of fire. As it struggled, it closed in on Wang Lin. All of this sounds slow, but in reality, it happened very quickly. Forget the arrow, even a cultivator could cross 100 feet in the blink of an eye. Wang Lin's body was already withered, and now that he poured more vitality into the ancient umbrella, his body became even more withered. From afar, he looked like an old ancient god who had reached the end of his life. His strong body was now like a skeleton. The realm-burning umbrella absorbed more vitality, and with a roar from Wang Lin, it opened a bit more. Although it wasn't opened to 30%, it was infinitely close. As a result, the fire that came from the umbrella became even more terrifying. The second arrow suddenly collapsed when it was 10 feet away from Wang Lin. Although it collapsed, a sliver of the power from the bow rushed out and broke through the sea of fire to touch Wang Lin's chest. With a bang, Wang Lin coughed out a mouthful of blood, and a feeling of being torn appeared on his chest. The intense pain caused him to retreat while coughing out blood. However, the moment he retreated, killing intent appeared in Wang Lin's eyes. He hadn't been seriously injured in a long time, and this injury stimulated his killing intent. As he retreated, he waved his right hand and a monstrous blood light appeared. The blood sword appeared. The blood sword could destroy everything, but only if it was corporeal. If it was like the white arrow that was condensed from life force, it wouldn't have much effect. The blood sword was about to charge into the gap in the realm ceiling formation that was now less than 200 feet wide, but Wang Lin grabbed it. He suppressed his killing intent and resolved the impulse from before. There's something wrong with this. I wasn't able to kill this person, and I wasn't able to lure him out. The white-robed cultivator, that had become an old man, had a gloomy expression and disbelief in his eyes. His 2 arrows hadn't been able to kill Wang Lin, and he had lost too much of his life force. He let out a sigh of regret and coldly looked at Wang Lin through the realm ceiling formation. Then he turned around and walked into the distance. However, just as he retreated, a demonic energy came from the cloud sea. This demonic energy was too fast and charged toward the gap in the realm ceiling formation. It was even faster than the arrow from before. As the demonic energy spread out, the ghost sex demon saint appeared outside the realm ceiling formation. The 9 stars in his left eye rotated and his eyes were filled with greed as he stared at the bow in the old man's hand. However, his body was illusory, so it was obvious this wasn't his original body but an avatar. Although his left eye also had 9 stars, it wasn't corporeal but a projection. As he grinned, he closed in on the white-robed cultivator. He raised his hand and mercilessly clawed at the white-robed cultivator. He had been waiting for this opportunity for some time. In truth, the moment the white-robed cultivator appeared, the 9-star ancient demon was already here. However, he dreaded the power of the bow, so he waited for the white-robed cultivator to pull the bow twice. Seeing that the white-robed cultivator was about to leave, he split off and charged out. The moment the 9-star ancient demon closed in on the white-robed cultivator, the white-robed cultivator suddenly turned around and revealed a smile that wasn't a smile. The little fish didn't come, but a big fish came. An invisible pressure descended from the ancient star system. It turned into a giant palm that silently descended. The expression of the nine-star ancient demon avatar changed greatly and the greed in his eyes collapsed. He let out a scream and quickly retreated to avoid the palm. However, he was too slow, and before he could return to the realm sealing formation, he was caught by the giant palm. It mercilessly squeezed, and the nine-star ancient demon avatar collapsed into a large amount of demonic energy that was absorbed by the palm. Then the palm slowly disappeared. The sovereign's head disciple, Feng Yi, was ordered by teacher to deliver this bow to fellow cultivators in the inner realm. The bow is here. The previous two shots were to show the power of this bow. If any third-step cultivators from the outer realm have confidence, they can come and take it at any time. The white-robed cultivator clasped his hands at the inner realm cultivators behind the realm sealing formation and threw the bow. The bow flew out and floated motionlessly outside the gap in the realm sealing formation. Bursts of gentle light came from the bow, giving off an attractive force that could make one go crazy. Teacher told me to pass down 3 chances for the inner realm to take the bow. Each time, you must send back 30% of the outer realm cultivators. Do you want this bow or not? Wang Lin's eyes were filled with killing intent. If it wasn't for the fact that he had taken the nether beast as his life essence beast, opening the umbrella would have caused him to lose more than 90% of his lifespan. However, although this was the case, he couldn't use it too much. Although the nether beast had powerful vitality, it couldn't withstand the crazy consumption of the umbrella. What is the sovereign doing this for? He seems to be afraid. He wants to use this bow to lure someone out. Chapter 1532. The inner realm was completely silent. The cold-looking boy and the other third-step cultivators that were battling Master South Cloud and Master Hongshan all withdrew from the battle and coldly watched from the side. However, the red-robed celestial imperial concubine's expression was gloomy. She didn't know that the bow would appear, and after hearing Feng Yi's words, she revealed a hint of anger. With her cunning, she naturally knew that she had become a pawn in someone else's plan. With a cold snort, the red-robed celestial imperial concubine looked at Purple Dream from the summoned river. She no longer looked at anyone and charged toward the gap in the realm sealing formation. No one stopped her. Master South Cloud's eyes lit up an undetectable amount. The red-robed celestial imperial concubine had already stepped into the gap and disappeared into the ancient star system. As for the cold-looking boy and company, they silently retreated and stepped out of the gap in the realm sealing formation. What? Fellow cultivators in the inner realm, no one dares to take the bow? The sovereign's head disciple, Feng Yi, shook his head and looked at the inner realm cultivators inside the realm sealing formation. The gap in the realm sealing formation had healed and was now less than 100 feet wide. There was a flash of ghostly light and it was about to close completely. However, just as it shrank to 70 feet, the giant palm that had appeared in the ancient star system appeared once more. It reached toward the gap in the realm sealing formation and tore it open. The gap immediately collapsed and a powerful force rushed in, causing the gap to be torn open thousands of feet more. Thunderous rumbles echoed, and an irresistible pressure came from the palm and shrouded the inner realm. Under this pressure, the minds of Master Hongshan and company trembled and they all retreated. Wang Lin's face was also pale. As he was affected by the pressure, he retreated thousands of feet. There was a flash of coldness in Hongshan's eyes and he suddenly took a step forward. He raised his right hand and waved it forward. A ray of red light shot toward the hand that was tearing open the gap in the seal formation. At the same time, Master South Cloud's expression became serious and his right hand hit his forehead. His body trembled and shadows appeared behind him. These shadows were like clouds and condensed into statues that lined up to form a giant formation. They followed Master Hongshan's red light and charged at the giant palm. Purple Dream from the Summoned River, the beautiful middle-aged woman, Master Lu Fu, and Tai Luo attacked at the same time. Various spells flew out and fused with Master Hongshan and Master Southcloud's spells. This created a heaven-shaking storm that shot toward the palm that was tearing open the gap. With a thought from Wang Lin, esteemed Ling Dong and Zhou Jin used their spells. It could be said that all the third-step cultivators in the inner realm released their most powerful spells at this moment. The fusion of their spells caused the storm to rumble. Wang Lin's god stars rotated and he waved his right hand. The ancient head turned into a giant fist surrounded by a sea of fire and thunder. The fist fused with the storm to form the most powerful force in the inner realm, and it charged at the giant palm. In a flash, the strongest force gathered by the inner realm collided with the palm. The moment they collided, demonic energy from the inner realm rushed out and turned into the 9-star ancient demon. His face was ferocious and filled with hatred. He opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of demonic energy. The moment this demonic energy appeared, it turned into a giant demonic dragon that charged forward with a roar. The moment the demonic dragon charged out, the 9 ancient demon stars flew out and fused with the dragon. They followed the storm and Wang Lin's fist toward the palm in the gap. A thunderous rumble shook the star system. Everyone in the inner and outer realms could clearly hear it. The storm formed by Master Hongshan and company exploded when it collided with the palm. An endless shockwave swept the area. As the thunderous rumble echoed, Master Hongshan and company coughed out blood and quickly retreated. The giant palm trembled and 4 of the 5 fingers completely collapsed. Just at this moment, Wang Lin's ancient Dao punch arrived. As the storm collapsed and the 4 fingers collapsed, it landed on the last finger. A thunderous rumble echoed once more and Wang Lin's body trembled. Blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth, and his right fist was covered in blood. Intense pain spread through his body as if his skull was broken. He retreated once more. The last finger of the palm collided with Wang Lin's ancient Dao punch and immediately showed signs of collapsing. At the same time, the demonic dragon that had fused with 9 ancient demon stars collided and the last finger of the palm collapsed. Only the palm remained, and it was knocked back by the combined attack of all the third-step cultivators in the inner realm. The shockwave spread into the realm ceiling formation, causing it to give off a dazzling light. The gap in the realm ceiling formation widened even further. During this shockwave, the bough closest to the palm didn't change at all and still floated there. It was as if the shockwave was insignificant to it, and the gentle light it gave off was only slightly distorted. As the palm that had lost 5 fingers retreated, there were 5 flashes of light. It was as if 5 fingers were going to regrow. However, just at this moment a shocking change occurred. A ripple appeared behind Wang Lin and company. A howl that could shake the hearts of all cultivators came from the inner realm behind them. At first, this howl seemed endless, but in the blink of an eye, it was monstrous. The expressions of Master Hongshan and company changed, and they all looked back. Wang Lin also looked back. He saw a scene he would never forget in his life. 9 burning cultivation planets, 9 burning suns that gave off endless heat waves, came from the distance. Lian Wei flew over from the distance. Under its extreme speed, the starry sky seemed to shatter. Countless ripples with a scorching aura turned into strings of ripples that spread in all directions. It was very fast, and in the blink of an eye, it closed in on the bough floating outside the realm ceiling formation. The giant palm that was regrowing 5 fingers immediately waved and blocked the bough. It collided with the first burning cultivation planet. A thunderous rumble echoed, and the first burning cultivation planet turned into a powerful force. The moment it touched the palm, it exploded. The powerful impact caused the palm to be pushed back. However, before it could retreat more than 10,000 feet, the second cultivation planet arrived and the palm was pushed back once more. The third cultivation planet closed in and collided with the palm. The giant palm trembled and exploded. The moment it exploded, a black-robed shadow walked out. This black-robed shadow was the sovereign that Wang Lin had seen outside the ancient order tomb. After he appeared, he did not say a single word. He raised his right hand, and a ray of light immediately appeared on his withered right hand. From a distance, it was as if his hand had become the first ray of inextinguishable light in the world. His raised right hand pressed down on the fourth cultivation planet. A thunderous rumble echoed, and the fourth cultivation planet collapsed. However, the black-robed shadow also retreated a few steps, and the light in his hand collapsed. The fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth cultivation planets arrived at the same time. When they got close to the black-robed shadow, they all exploded. This created an indescribable shockwave that echoed across the ancient star system. A heat wave spread out and rushed into the depths of the ancient star system. As the heat wave passed by, space itself shattered. The black-robed shadow's robe fluttered and he coughed out a mouthful of origin energy. His body felt like it was going to be torn apart. "You're not dead!" A hoarse voice filled with shock came from the black-robed shadow. "I'm not dead!" A voice came from somewhere in the inner realm and rushed into the outer realm. At the same time, the ninth burning cultivation planet smashed into the black-robed shadow. The black-robed shadow let out a low roar and raised his arms to quickly form a seal. A huge well appeared behind him, and there was a reflection of a crescent moon in the well. The moment the well water appeared, the black-robed shadow's withered left hand plunged into the well water and scooped out. He pulled out the crescent moon from the well. It was impossible to tell if he was pulling out the well water or the crescent moon. In short, there was a large amount of well water in his hand, and there was a crescent moon inside the well water. After pulling it out, the black-robed shadow waved his hand and the well water flew toward the ninth cultivation planet. The two collided and a thunderous rumble echoed. The well water rapidly evaporated and turned into white gas. However, the ninth planet trembled and shattered into pieces. One could clearly see a crescent moon mark appear on it. Popping sounds echoed as the crescent moon mark penetrated the cultivation planet. As it collapsed, it pierced through the planet and charged toward the empty space behind it. Back then, when the old man slaughtered the outer realm, none of your 5 masters were a match for the old man. The old man stole a large amount of Joss flames. Today we meet again, and you're still so weak. At the instant the ancient but domineering voice rang out, an illusory figure appeared in the galaxy where the crescent moon had landed. That figure's appearance could not be seen clearly, but the moment he appeared, he raised his right hand and waved his index finger before him. He wrote the word battle. With one word, the crescent moon immediately collapsed. People only know that he used the power of Holby to drive you out, but they don't know the warning in that roar. If you dare to take half a step into the inner palace, you will without a doubt die. You're just a cowardly palm-print boy servant, yet you dare to call yourself the Lord? Aside from the Li clan, no one else can make this Bao recognize you as its master. Since you took it out as bait, then the old man will accept it on his behalf. The vague voice was calm as it walked toward the Bao floating outside the formation. Old Devil Jean, you still haven't died. The black-robed shadow suddenly raised its head. The black robe on its head turned into pieces and scattered, revealing the face under the black robe. Today is the day it erupted. Chapter 1533. It was an extremely old face covered in wrinkles, as if time had passed on his body for far too long. The wrinkles were like gullies, like growth rings, and gave off an ancient aura. There was a mark between his eyebrows. This mark looked like a scar, as if someone had left it there countless years ago. As for the shape of the mark, it was blurry and couldn't be seen clearly. Although this person was old, there was no hair on his face. It was as if there would never be hair on his face, or rather, there shouldn't be hair on his face at all. The sovereign's palm-print little boy. His face was pale as he stared at old Devil Jean. His eyes were filled with monstrous hatred, but he didn't dare to speak. He took a step back, grabbed his head disciple, and quickly escaped. The blurry figure took a step forward and closed in on the bow floating in space. He raised his right hand and grabbed at the bow, but just as he was about to grab it, the blurry figure let out a soft gasp of surprise. His expression changed, but he didn't withdraw his right hand. Instead, he reached out even faster. The bowstring was originally pulled straight, but there was a flash of 7-colored light at the end. As the 7-colored light flashed, the bowstring suddenly broke. There really is 7-colored light. The eyes of the blurry old man shined brightly. With a hum, the broken bowstring let out a mournful roar. The bowstring was surrounded by a 7-colored light as it flew toward Wei in an arc. The bowstring wasn't long, but at this moment, it extended as if it was endless. As it was swung, the entire space within the half-arc was split open. The blurry old man's eyes lit up and he let out a cold snort as he grabbed the bow and threw it into the inner realm. At the same time, he retreated, but he was still hit by the broken bowstring. Normally, he wouldn't care, but the bowstring was giving off tea-colored light. As a result, he raised his right hand and wrote the word battle 7 times. The moment the 7 battle words appeared, they were immediately shattered by the bowstring. With a thunderous rumble, the 7 battle words were completely destroyed. The old man's expression was solemn as he retreated, and he spat out a mouthful of white aura. The moment the white aura appeared, it formed a white battle word. The bowstring arrived and collided with the white battle word. It paused for a moment, and using this pause, the blurry figure calmly retreated into the realm sealing formation. Tea-color Taoist, you really did make a move. This is your 3rd chance and also your last one. 1,000,000 cultivator spirit print. Since you want to break this print, then the old man will just wait. The moment he entered the realm sealing formation, the white word battle automatically dissipated. The endless bowstring cut through space and landed on the realm sealing formation. The formation trembled, and before the formation's spirit could appear, a giant crack appeared. The moment the crack appeared, a thunderous rumble echoed. The bowstring opened a gap in the realm sealing formation and entered the inner realm. The people closest to the realm sealing formation weren't the summoned river or Luo Tian cultivators, but the tens of thousands of invading outer realm cultivators trapped by Wang Lin's ancient leave. At this moment, the bowstring appeared in the inner realm and landed on the ancient leave. The bowstring broke through the seal, but no screams echoed. All of this happened too fast. After the bowstring swept by, the tens of thousands of remaining outer realm cultivators all collapsed. Their bodies couldn't resist the power of the bowstring at all, and they were all cut. The blurry figure of old Devil Jean charged forward, and the moment the bowstring closed in, he sneered and disappeared without a trace. He came very suddenly and left very suddenly. It was as if he was only here to witness something and take the bow to the inner realm. Now that he left, he didn't even look at the bow. There was no need to mention the cultivators here, including Wang Lin. In his eyes, they were all insignificant, like ants. If this bow recognizes an owner, it will be a treasure, but no one can make it recognize an owner. It is powered by life force, so it is weak. If any of you like it, you can take it and play with it. His voice echoed and slowly dissipated. All of this happened in an instant. The bowstring swept by, the realm sealing formation collapsed, and countless people died. The bowstring seemed to release all of its power. The broken bowstring was thrown by old Devil Jean into the inner realm, and its target was where Wang Lin was. Was it a coincidence, or was it not? To take it or not to take it? These two choices appeared in Wang Lin's mind as he watched the bow close in. Although the bowstring wasn't as powerful as before, it was still moving. Everywhere it passed, space collapsed. This bow is mine. Wang Lin was decisive. He was very close to the bow, and at this moment, he stepped forward. His right hand reached toward the bow. He grabbed it. The moment he grabbed the bow, a powerful force rushed into Wang Lin's right hand. His right hand was hit by this force and directly collapsed. Blood and flesh splattered everywhere. The bow was about to fly back, but Wang Lin's eyes were filled with madness. He raised his left hand and grabbed the bow once more. His left arm rumbled and became a bloody mess, but it didn't collapse. He held on to the bow, but just as he grabbed the bow, the bowstring suddenly swept by the powerful force from the bow and pierced through Wang Lin's waist. Intense pain flooded his body, and even Wang Lin let out a miserable scream. A crack appeared on his waist, and his lower body separated from his upper body, as if it had been cut in half. His body was split in half by the bowstring. His lower body collapsed and blood sprayed everywhere. Wang Lin's face was pale and he was thrown back. His vision was blurry. The price of obtaining this bow was simply too great. The moment he was thrown back, Wang Lin clearly felt a powerful rejection force from the bow. It was as if no one in the world could make it recognize them as its master. If he wanted to control this bow, he would have to sacrifice his own life force. Otherwise, even if he had it in his hand, he wouldn't be able to pull it. When he was thrown back, he felt the rejection force from the bow. The intense pain caused Wang Lin to cough out blood. Right now, he only had his upper body left. This kind of injury was rare, aside from when he was in the ancient Tao tomb. However, just at this moment, the nether beast that had been sleeping after devouring the golden storm was connected to Wang Lin's life force. The pain also entered its mind, and under this pain, the nether beast suddenly awakened. The moment it awakened, a ray of ghostly light flew out from Wang Lin's body. This light wasn't large at first, but in the blink of an eye, it expanded infinitely. The nether beast's giant body appeared in this chaotic and collapsing space. Under the intense pain in the inheritor's mind, the nether beast seemed to have forgotten its fear and let out a shocking roar. As it roared, it suddenly opened its closed mouth. It wasn't devouring, but at the moment it opened its mouth, a ray of golden light came out along with the roar. Golden storm. The golden storm that it hadn't digested yet was spat out by it. From a distance, it was impossible to see anything, only the golden light rapidly expanded. As it continued to spit out the golden storm, it charged at the self-sealing realm formation. This golden storm was powerful enough to collapse a star domain, and very few people could resist it. When the sovereign saw the storm, his expression changed greatly. When he saw the nether beast, his eyes widened and were filled with excitement and terror. Thunderous rumbles echoed as the golden storm charged into the realm's sealing formation and exploded. As it exploded, a destructive force erupted. The tens of thousands of cultivators in the summoned river, all heaven, and cloud sea all turned pale. Master Hongshan and company's eyes were bloodshot as they retreated. They desperately used spells to teleport these tens of thousands of cultivators away. In the blink of an eye, there were no longer any inner realm cultivators left on this battlefield. All the inner realm cultivators were moved away by Master Hongshan and company. Even they quickly left. They wanted to save Wang Lin, but Wang Lin was where the golden storm was coming from. They couldn't get close to the destructive force here. Esteemed Ling Dong and Zhou Jin had to retreat when the golden storm erupted. As the golden storm spread, the realm sealing formation began to collapse on a large scale. The Lord of the Sealed Realms Jade rapidly dissipated and disappeared along with the realm sealing formation. The departure of the Jade allowed the Heaven Punishment Palace's Lord to escape. However, just as he escaped, he was devoured by the golden storm. There was no scream as his body, origin soul, and Joss flames dissipated. The ancient star system in the outer realm was also affected by the golden storm and collapsed on a large scale. After a long time, the entire battlefield with the realm sealing formation as the center was shrouded by the golden storm. Within its range, the realm sealing formation collapsed, the outer realm collapsed, and the inner realm collapsed. After the golden storm expanded to a certain extent, it let out a huge explosion that shook the entire outer realm and realm. Then, it completely exploded. After the storm passed, the battlefield of the first battle became a giant black hole. This black hole filled the endless stars and blocked the realm's sealing formation. After the nether beast spat out the golden storm, it opened its mouth and put Wang Lin and the bow into its mouth. Then it turned into a mustard seed and disappeared. Thunderous rumbles echoed in the black hole that blocked the realm's sealing formation. These echoes would exist for the next 10 years, 100 years, 1,000 years, 10,000 years, as if they would never dissipate. The first battle ended with this strange ending. The second chapter. Continue to write the third chapter. I don't have many monthly votes, I won't even get 100 today, so I won't force it. Chapter 1534. This giant vortex continued to rotate and sucked in the fog unique to the cloud sea. This fog surrounded the vortex and turned it into a rotating fog zone. This battle was a heavy blow to the Outer Realm's great lucky star system. It caused the Outer Realm cultivators to become sober. The Outer Realm had suffered too much in this battle. The cultivators of dozens of tribes had all died. No one who had entered the Inner Realm had survived. The Fire Sparrow clan ancestor had died, esteemed Nanzhao had died, and the Sovereign Council's Heaven Punishment Palace Lord had also died. More than 100,000 cultivators had died in the Inner Realm. The entire ancient star system was filled with sadness. This sadness slowly turned into anger, the anger of revenge. Under this anger, even more Outer Realm cultivators took the initiative to ask for another battle. As more and more appeals came, the Sovereign Council gave the order to prepare for the second battle. The Outer Realm's great lucky star system was all ready. They were waiting for the second battle for revenge. Some old monsters that hadn't appeared in closed-door cultivation for tens of thousands of years, just like the people Tao Master Blue Dream had mentioned, walked out one by one. They coldly stared at the Inner Realm with killing intent. The name Lord of the Sealed Realm Wang Lin was once again firmly remembered by the Outer Realm cultivators. They gritted their teeth and revealed endless hatred. It was this Wang Lin who had killed the Fire Sparrow clan ancestor, esteemed Nanzhao, and Grandmaster Yun Luo's avatar. He had destroyed the island where Grandmaster Yun Luo's original body was, and it was unknown if she was still alive or dead. It was this person who had released the poison sea and mosquito beasts that had become a nightmare for the Outer Realm cultivators. It was this person who had killed too many Outer Realm cultivators and caused the Outer Realm's confidence to collapse. He was the Lord of the Sealed Realm, so he had to die. Wang Lin's appearance had been spread by the Sovereign Council, and all the Outer Realm cultivators knew about it. An unprecedented bounty was offered just to kill this person. In this battle, the Cloud Sea suffered heavy casualties. The thousands of people that survived were the only ones left. The entire Cloud Sea had been almost abandoned by this battle. The death of a large amount of cultivators caused many sects in the Cloud Sea to become empty. The only ones left were the weak cultivators. The thousands of surviving Cloud Sea cultivators shouldered the burden of educating the younger generation. They spread out and gathered the various sects together to form the future 10 sects of the Cloud Sea. Fortunately, the Divine Sect, Demon Sect, and Ghost Sect didn't reveal too much of their strength, and thus were able to hold the fort. Due to the collapse of the Cloud Sea on a large scale, the entire Cloud Sea became unstable. There were spatial rifts everywhere, and flying through the Cloud Sea was very dangerous. Although this was the case, the Demon Sect still sent out nearly 7 of their cultivators to guard the battlefield of the first battle. That was the most empty area in the Celestial Realm. Without the realm sealing formation after the storm, although there was still a black hole, it became the gate to the Inner Realm. The Ghost Sect had similarly dispatched a large number of cultivators to station themselves here. As for the God Sect, under the leadership of Mu Bingmei, they formed a tight blockade to guard against the second battle that could occur at any time. The Summoned River cultivators had left a portion of their people outside the fog vortex. With the beautiful middle-aged woman as the leader, they silently set up camp. The Luo Tian cultivators had also left a portion of their people behind. The rest had returned to their hometowns to silently prepare for the second battle. The brilliant void star field, which hadn't shown up since the beginning of the battle, sent 10,000 cultivators under the leadership of a woman in a blue dress to stay outside the mist vortex. This woman was very beautiful, but she was extremely cold. The coldness in her eyes made all the cultivators outside the vortex feel like they were facing an iceberg. In the first battle, Grandmaster Yun Luo from the Outer Realm had shaken Hongshan and the others. Because of Yun Luo's existence, the cultivator army had been forced into a passive position in the Upper Realm, making it impossible for them to set up a spell formation. Grandmaster Yun Luo's formation and calculations left a deep impression on Hongshan and company. If it wasn't for the fact that Grandmaster Yun Luo's avatar had been killed by the Lord of the Sealed Realm, this battle would have been even more difficult. Even if the Summoned River and Luo Tian reinforcements arrived, many would have died. There were very few large battles in the Inner Realm. As a result, after tens of thousands of years, the Inner Realm lacked experience in battles of this level. This battle was a lesson, but it also made Hongshan and company understand that no matter how high their cultivation levels were, if they didn't have someone to command the army, they would be like scattered sand. The woman in the blue dress had been found by Master Southcloud because of this. Not only was she the leader of the brilliant void cultivators stationed outside the fog vortex, but she was also the commander of all the Inner Realm cultivators stationed inside the fog vortex. After this battle, the name of the Lord of the Sealed Realm Wang Lin spread across the Inner Realm. Almost all the Inner Realm cultivators knew of the Lord of the Sealed Realm's achievements. He had killed the third-step ancestor of the Fire Sparrow clan, killed the Outer Realm third-step cultivator Nanzhao, and killed the commander of the Outer Realm, Grandmaster Yun Luo. With one axe, he had blocked the third wave of the Outer Realm cultivators. The tens of thousands of Outer Realm cultivators didn't dare to take half a step in. With the power of one person, he had blocked the Outer Realm cultivators that wanted to leave in fear. He made it so none of the Outer Realm cultivators could escape. All of this gave the Inner Realm a sense of confidence and reverence. They remembered the name Wang Lin and the title Lord of the Sealed Realm. Wang Lin's reputation grew like crazy in the Inner Realm. He suppressed Hongshan and company and became the spiritual leader of all the Inner Realm cultivators. Not to mention, at the end of the battle, Lord of the Sealed Realm Wang Lin had released the Nether Beast and destroyed the last of the Outer Realm invaders. The fog vortex had been created by him. Those who didn't believe all of this became silent when they arrived at the Cloud Sea and saw the powerful fog vortex. A sense of fanaticism slowly appeared in their hearts. Almost all of the cultivators stationed outside the fog vortex silently stared at the shocking vortex. After a long time, they all bowed and left. If there were still people who didn't believe, then their words couldn't be heard by the cultivators of the Cloud Sea. In particular, the thousands of cultivators that had survived and walked out were all fanatics of the Lord of the Sealed Realm Wang Lin. They wouldn't listen to any disrespectful words toward Wang Lin. In their hearts, the Lord of the Sealed Realm Wang Lin was all their glory. Even fellow Taoists from other star domains who were on good terms with them would immediately turn against them if they said anything disrespectful to them, even if they were on good terms with them. Wang Lin's name had become a legend in the Inner Realm. However, this legend had disappeared without a trace, and no one knew if he was dead or alive. Hongshan and company had worked together to cast a spell to find Wang Lin, but in the end they found nothing. The Nether Beast that had turned into a mustard seed seemed to have experienced something strange, and no one could find it. However, the cultivators of the Cloud Sea believed that the Lord of the Sealed Realm was still there. Master Lu Fu believed that the Lord of the Sealed Realm was still there. Shi Zifeng from the Luo Tian star system and Xie Qing from planet Ling Dong believed that their teacher was still there. Shengong Hu and Zhan Konglai also believed. Esteemed Ling Dong and Zhou Jin's slave imprints hadn't collapsed and were still in the Cloud Sea. The large amount of mutated mosquito beasts that had become highly toxic made more people believe that the Lord of the Sealed Realm was still there. Mu Bingmei, who had become the sect master of the God sect because of one sentence from the Lord of the Sealed Realm, had tears in her eyes. She firmly believed that Wang Lin was still there. In his sorrow, Situ Nan gave up on cultivating in the Rain's celestial realm. He silently drank too much wine and laughed wildly while looking at the sky. However, as he laughed and laughed, tears flowed down his cheeks uncontrollably. He drank for 3 days, laughed for 3 days, cried for 3 days, and then left the Rain's celestial realm. He was going to find his brother. When he left, Zhou Ru's eyes were filled with tears. She left with Situ Nan with determination and pleading. Big Head left with Lei Ji the day after Situ Nan left. They were going to find their master. The first to leave the Rain's celestial realm wasn't Situ Nan but Shi San. He took Wang Lin's statue with him and left without any hesitation after learning of this matter. Many people were looking for the Lord of the Sealed Realm, Wang Lin. However, no matter how they searched, they couldn't find any trace. Where are you? In the brilliant void, Situ Nan and Zhou Ru looked at the vast star system. Where are you? In the Luo Tian star system, Shi Zifeng, Xieqing, and company silently looked at the star system. In the God sect, Mu Bingmei had just finished dealing with some trivial matters in the sect. She was very tired. After drinking a bowl of healing medicine, she silently looked at the sky outside the pavilion and muttered to herself. Where are you? Outside the mist vortex of the Cloud Sea, in the pitch-black star area, a woman wearing a blue dress stared at the mist vortex in a daze. After a long time, she let out a faint sigh. You don't know who I am. You, where are you? 13 didn't say a single word as he flew through the starry sky. He had a determined expression on his face as he relied on his senses and the sliver of aura from the statue to fly through the starry sky, searching endlessly. The mosquito beasts were also looking for Wang Lin. There were a lot of them, and because they had fused with the poison sea, they didn't attack any cultivators. Instead, they roared as they searched for Wang Lin. Their sad cries were like children that had lost their parents. When they entered the mind, one would feel a sense of sadness. Any cultivator that saw this group of mosquito beasts would stop and bow toward them. In the Brilliant Void star system, or rather the Alliance star system, there was a chaotic area of rubble in the extreme north. At this moment, there was a piece of rubble that was only the size of a fist and looked like a speck of dust. There were many small holes on the surface of the rubble that were connected to the inside. The nether beast that had turned into a mustard seed was hiding here. It had been scared by the destruction of the storm, and with its personality, it would rather die than leave this place. It felt that the outside world was simply too terrifying, too terrifying. Congratulations to female classmate Ching Hu for becoming a third-step cultivator and helping Wang Lin snatch the bow. I swear that you will become famous in the inner realm. I am honored to give you Suzaku, Little White, as a token of gratitude. When he has time, he will bring this tiger to find another Xiaobai, and then gather the power of 2 Xiaobai, sing the song 2 Tigers, 2 Xiaobai. Chapter 1535. The strange world inside the nether beast had stars and cultivation planets, but there were very few living beings. Before Wang Lin entered, there was only one person. It was the pitiful cultivator who had been scared by the nether beast twice and had lived half his life in fear. In the end, he thought that the world inside the nether beast was the real world. In the world inside the nether beast, there was a cultivation planet. This planet was half collapsed and was no longer round. There were no plants on it, and it was completely destroyed. A Xiao Tu with tattered clothes and a face full of black beard was squatting there, staring blankly at a corpse lying in front of him. Strange, could it be that this person isn't dead? A few days ago, he didn't grow much, but now that I've come back, he has grown a lot. It looks like it won't take more than a few years for this person to fully grow. It seems to have something to do with my blood. The cultivator rubbed his chin and walked around the corpse a few times before mercilessly kicking it. Damn it, you dare to pretend to be dead before this king? The cultivator's eyes widened and he kicked the corpse. When he saw that the corpse didn't react, he immediately kicked it a few more times. In the end, he laughed foolishly and jumped onto the corpse. After jumping for almost 2 hours, he finally relaxed and lay down on the side, staring at the blurry sky in a daze. He didn't know how many years he had been searching here. The vast starry sky was boundless, but he hadn't seen a second person. Even now, he still remembered that he was lying here and staring blankly at the sky many years ago. He constantly begged the celestials and gods to send a fellow cultivator down for him to play with. This thought would appear in his mind almost every day, but this time it was different. The moment this thought appeared in his mind, he opened his eyes wide and saw a flash of light in the blurry starry sky. Shortly after, he seemed to see something fall from the sky and land on the other side of the cultivation planet. He remembered that he was startled for 4 or 5 days before he reacted. He rushed out in joy toward the other side of the planet. After he found the badly damaged corpse, he carried it back and placed it here. There's finally someone to accompany me. Although it's a dead person, how can a dead person's body grow out again? Maybe, who knows? I think it's going to rain today. Little Red, hurry up and get me the Tao spirit that shelters me from the rain. I ate the rain-sheltered Tao spirit last time when I was drunk. Then go find the Lee family and get it back. Damn it, if they don't give it to me, then tell them this king will get my big brother to steal it tomorrow. Not necessarily. Maybe I don't have enough silver. What do I do if I don't have enough? Little Gui, go find my big brother and get more for me. Damn it, if he doesn't give it to me, then tell him that tomorrow this king will get. I'll go steal it myself. The cultivator muttered to himself. As he spoke, he didn't even know what he was talking about. This phenomenon had appeared when he was trapped in the 7-colored realm. If he wasn't talking to himself like this, he would have really gone crazy. After muttering to himself for a long time without rest, he let out a long breath and looked at the corpse. His expression immediately changed and turned ferocious. He stood up with a hideous grin and roared in a low voice, "You're dead!" He grinned and roared, "You dare to scare this king? See how this king will deal with you." As he roared, the cultivator jumped into the air. His hands formed a seal, and a large amount of spells shot out toward the corpse. Thunderous rumbles echoed and the earth trembled. After a long time, before the trembling disappeared, the madman cultivator used spells again. The continuous bombardment lasted for several days. During this period of time, if a third person were to see the divine abilities this madman used, they would definitely be scared out of their wits and be overwhelmed with shock. Little Peach, take this. The madman raised his right hand and the world rumbled. A giant palm print appeared and shot toward the corpse below. However, this palm print didn't seem to be powerful enough and collapsed the moment it landed on the corpse. However, it was filled with a powerful aura. This palm print was the most authentic war spirit print. This was the most powerful spell the Lord of the Sealed Realm had left in the God sect. However, this madman's spell was even more accurate than the Lord of the Sealed Realms. Little Silver, tell me how this king will hit you. As the madman roared, he raised his right hand and pointed at the sky. The entire sky turned into an umbrella and a giant pillar appeared. This pillar supported the heavens and earth. From afar it looked like a giant umbrella. Realm-burning umbrella, descend for this king. The madman waved his right hand and the ancient umbrella shrank until it landed in his right hand. He held it and stabbed at the corpse on the ground. Although this spell looked powerful, it had no power. The moment it touched the corpse, it dissipated on its own. Old man Li Guang, Take this king's arrow." The madman laughed like crazy and raised his hand, as if he was holding a bow. When he released his hand, there was originally no bow in his hand, but an arrow appeared out of thin air and shot toward Wang Lin. "Little seven-colored girl, your husband was forced away by my big brother. If you ask me, you should just follow this king. How good is that? Look, this king also knows how to use rainbow spells." The madman raised his right hand, and in an instant, a seven-colored light appeared, faintly forming a huge magical wheel that rotated with loud rumbling sounds. Time passed. As the madman chattered, he used a large amount of other spells that had never appeared in the inner and outer realms. It wasn't until several days later that the madman slowly stopped. He gasped for breath and revealed a satisfied expression. "Not bad, not bad, this king's spells have strengthened again. Not bad. Now it's time to practice my strength." As he muttered to himself, he stood up once more and walked next to the corpse. There was a bow in the corpse's hand. It was held tightly by the corpse, and the bowstring was broken. One part was connected to the bow and the other was fused with the flesh of the corpse. Next to the corpse, the madman rubbed his hands as he grabbed the bow. His face was red and he wanted to pull it out. As he pulled, he jumped up and down and roared. "Damn, this damn ancient country person is holding Li Guang's bow. Even dead, he's still so strong. What did I say, ancient country? Li Guang's bow?" The madman was startled for a moment and let go. He pondered for a long time before looking at the corpse and shaking his head. "Ancient country, so familiar. It seems to have a lot of hatred." After a long time, he couldn't think of anything. He scratched his head and let out a sigh. He squatted down and stared dumbfoundedly at the corpse before him. He bit the tip of his finger and placed it in the corpse's mouth. "Drink, drink more. Hurry up and grow your body, then play with me." It was not the first or second day that he fed his blood to the corpse. Every time he saw the corpse, he would feed it a bit of blood. "This king's blood is very precious. Back then, that girl from the Li family begged me for many years before I gave her a drop. Also, who was it again? Little Red, who was it again? Oh, it seems to be that saintess from that whatever sect, the one that was stolen. If it wasn't for the fact that she was pitiful, this king wouldn't have given it to her. A drop of this king's blood is even more precious than a Tao saint. Ah, there's no more food to eat. Little Red, go to the Chiemo family and get me some fruit. The dream fruit that only bears fruit once every 100,000 years. Bring it to me. Damn it, if they don't give it to me, tell them that this king will get my big brother to snatch it tomorrow." As the madman muttered to himself, he didn't notice that the recovery speed of the corpse, which had been in the process of recovering, immediately slowed down after it absorbed his blood. It even stopped instantly. Not only did it not recover, but the situation reversed, making its injuries even worse. There seemed to be a force inside the corpse that was rejecting the blood like crazy. It was difficult for the two to coexist, but as they rejected, there was a hint of fusion. This corpse was Wang Lin. The blood from the madman was incompatible with the ancient Tao power inside his body. The two devoured each other like crazy as if they were going to fight to the death. As they devoured each other, a strange change occurred inside Wang Lin's body. This change seemed to be changing his bloodline. It was a change from a mortal to a celestial. During this change, the bow that was brought in by Li Guang, the bow that no one had been able to recognize after his death, and even old Ghost John didn't think there was anyone in the world that could make it recognize him as its master, began to undergo a heaven-shattering change. If the old Devil Jean were to personally witness this, even with his cultivation level, he would reveal a look of disbelief. The broken bowstring that had grown into Wang Lin's body was slowly being absorbed by Wang Lin's changing bloodline. This bloodline power filled the entire bow. The bow gave off a faint cheer of excitement that only Wang Lin could detect. It was as if the bow had found a new master after losing its master for tens of thousands of years. This cheer was the joyful cry of the bow. The bow could even feel that the slowly changing bloodline in Wang Lin's body was 100 times purer than its master's. It was like the difference between water and wine. The madman stared blankly at the sky and continued to mutter to himself. "It's raining. Little Red, come and massage my shoulders. Go tell my big brother that this king is tired today and won't be going to cultivate. I'm going out to play. Tell him not to come find me. This king will go back after playing. If he dares to come find me like before, I'll cut off all relations with him." 4 chapters. Although it's not during the double period, I'll continue to fight. Tomorrow, I can't guarantee that I'll still have 4 chapters, but tomorrow, I'll still have at least 3 chapters. I want to see how many chapters one can write on the 15th, in half a month. Chapter 1536. Every time the ancient god power in Wang Lin's body tried to recover, it would be stopped by the madman's blood. This made his injuries worse, and his body felt like it was being turned upside down. That kind of intense pain was enough to drive a person crazy. If Wang Lin had fainted, it wouldn't have mattered. However, he had woken up a long time ago. It was just that when he woke up, his body was already filled with the madman's blood. This blood was filled with an extremely pure power. This power was something Wang Lin had never seen in his life. Back in the Tomb of Luck, in the illusion he had seen on the throne, when Xiao Daogu and Yi Mo used their great Dao technique, the supreme celestial technique, the aura they released was comparable to the power of this blood. However, this power couldn't be used by Wang Lin. It was hidden in Wang Lin's blood, and as it fought with the ancient god power, it slowly merged with Wang Lin's bones, blood, and palms. Bones were the foundation of blood production, and the blood from the madman continued to merge with Wang Lin's bone marrow, changing his bloodline. The so-called bloodline was actually the marrow in the bones. Changing the bone marrow was like changing a person's bloodline. If he succeeded, then the blood that flowed in Wang Lin's body would be as pure and noble as the madman's. This nobility made Wang Lin feel an indescribable emotion. It was as if the blood coming from the madman's blood was enough to make people worship it. Wang Lin was even shocked to find that when this blood entered his body, his primordial spirit was trembling. It was as if this blood was something unimaginably high to him. This kind of existence was like the peak of all cultivators in the world. After a long time, as the pure blood flowed through Wang Lin's body, it would also change. It was a huge change that would turn a mortal into a puppet. The sober Wang Lin was shocked by this scene, but at the same time, he also saw the various spells that the madman had used on his body. When he saw this, it was as if a million bolts of lightning had struck his mind at the same time, and he couldn't calm down for a long time. In particular, the madman's incessant chatter caused Wang Lin's waves to surge to the heavens. However, due to the intense pain in his body, Wang Lin couldn't think about it in detail. The pain in his body was even more intense than the ancient god's star tribulation. His body couldn't move, and he couldn't even open his eyes. His primordial spirit was frozen in his body by the blood puppet, and he couldn't move at all. Fortunately, amidst this great pain, a burst of excited cheers came from the bow in his right hand. The cheers sent a wave of warmth into Wang Lin's body, allowing him to relax a bit from the pain. Gradually, he had a very strange feeling. It was as if the bow in his hand had become one with him, as if it had become a part of his bloodline. He could also see that the bow that wouldn't recognize him as its master wasn't recognizing him, but the slowly changing bloodline in his body. It was as if only with this bloodline could the bow recognize him as its master. Madman Xiao was sitting next to Wang Lin when he suddenly stopped and his eyes were filled with confusion. This king's blood is very, very Fei. And I remember, there was a little demon girl named Fei who gave me something. After a long time, he shook his head and took the right hand out of Wang Lin's mouth. He placed it in his mouth and licked it. His face revealed an intoxicated expression. Even this king likes King Chui's blood. I can't just give it to be fan. My big brother told me that one drop of this king's blood can what? Little Red, where the hell did me go? This king has been here for so many years, but Xiao still hasn't come to find this king. Just you wait, when this king returns home, this king will eat you. As the madman muttered, he seemed to be angry. He stood up and walked around Wang Lin a few times before finally stopping and glaring at Wang Lin fiercely. When he saw that Wang Lin's body was still not recovering and had returned to the half of his original appearance, the madman became even more angry. Why is it so difficult to grow a body? Is it difficult? If this king was like this, I would have recovered a long time ago. How many years has it been? Why are you so envious? The more the madman spoke, the angrier he became. After kicking the ape in front of him a few times, he seemed to not be satisfied and began to jump around on Wang Lin's body. From afar, he looked like an angry prison child. My big brother said that my tribe's blood can heal most injuries in the world. King Yi gave you so much blood, but you still can't grow a body. You! The madman jumped to the side and glared at Wang Lin. He didn't stop talking. This king will believe it. Just you wait. As the madman muttered, he raised his right hand and slammed it against his chest. At the moment his palm slammed into his body, a strange mark appeared on his right hand, and it landed directly on his body. The madman's body trembled and his face immediately turned red. He coughed out a mouthful of blood that landed on Wang Lin's body. This king has plenty of blood. Hurry up and grow your body so you can play with this king. The mouthful of shad blood could not be compared to the stream of blood from his finger. It was like the difference between a river and a chun. The blood was golden and filled with an extremely pure aura. When it landed on Wang Lin's body suddenly trembled. All the hairs on his body quickly extended and madly absorbed the blood into his body. In just a moment, all the blood on his body was absorbed. The large amount of blood entered his body and immediately turned into a roaring storm. It began a crazy battle with the power of the god of luck in Wang Lin's body. Some of it even directly entered Wang Lin's bone marrow and began to transform. After coughing out a mouthful of blood, the madman's face turned pale. He panted heavily and stared at Wang Lin. However, his eyes slowly revealed a majestic anger. Still not done? You. Wait for this king to rest. Just you wait. The madman let out an angry snort and sat down to the side. He didn't sit down to heal his injuries. He just sat there, panting, and slowly recovered. Then, he suddenly stood up and walked in front of Wang Lin. Damn it, this king's blood wasn't given out of my own will. Even if I suck it dry, it won't be of any use. I don't believe you'll grow a whole body. The madman let out a roar and slapped his body again. This time, he slapped his body 3 times in a row. After coughing out a mouthful of blood, the madman's face turned pale and he took 2 steps back. He coughed out another mouthful of blood, and just as the second mouthful of blood came out, he coughed out a 3rd mouthful of blood. The 3 mouthfuls of blood turned into a rain of blood that flew toward Wang Lin. Damn your mother! The madman's eyes were bloodshot. At this moment, even if his older brother was here, he wouldn't be able to stop his stubbornness. He let out a roar and bit the tip of his tongue. An arrow of blood shot out and landed on Wang Lin's body. This arrow of blood was his lifeblood, and it was countless times more precious than normal blood. After he spat it out, his eyes rolled back, and he fell backwards with a thump. He had lost too much blood, and he had actually fainted. Before he fainted, he was still muttering to himself. This king's blood is very precious. I've played a bit too much this time. So dizzy, my head is so dizzy. Little Red, come and give me a massage. Wang Lin's body was already covered in blood. This blood seemed to have its own intelligence, and the moment it touched Wang Lin's body, it entered his pores. This amount of blood, especially the life blood, gave off an indescribable pressure when it entered Wang Lin's body. Under this pressure, the ancient Tao power and ancient God power inside Wang Lin's body collapsed. They were all suppressed, but they still couldn't fuse. Even so, because his ancient Tao power was suppressed, the blood that entered his body went straight to his bones and fused with his bone marrow. This kind of fusion was not as small as Fang Xiuan's. It happened in an instant. Wang Lin's body trembled violently and a large amount of red dots appeared on his body. This was the liquid in his body being forced into his body like crazy. As the bone marrow fused, new blood was slowly produced. The moment this new blood appeared, a noble aura came from Wang Lin's body. This noble aura was like the head of all cultivators in the world. Even the heavens would have to bow before it. The 9 colored flames burned in his closed left eye, and they could be seen clearly through his eyelids. However, at the instant they burned, the new blood created in his bone marrow flowed in, and the 9-colored storm collapsed with a rumble. It turned into countless sparks, and as they collapsed, they fused back together. A golden beam of light suddenly materialized from a spoon. This golden flame contained the power of the world, but it wasn't a Tao flame. When Jinju appeared, the thunder tattoo in Wang Lin's right eye rumbled. The blood from his bone marrow rushed into the thunder tattoo and shattered it. The 9 accompanying thunders also collapsed. The moment the thunder tattoo and accompanying thunders collapsed, a golden bolt of lightning appeared in Wang Lin's closed right eye. Golden, it was completely golden. However, this golden color wasn't very deep. It was only a faint hue. Even so, it was enough to make anyone who knew the secret of this golden color feel fear. Golden, the color of celestial. True celestial. Golden fire in his left eye and golden lightning in his right eye. At this moment, if Wang Lin opened his eyes, all the cultivators who saw his eyes would be shocked. They would feel an indescribable pressure erupting from Wang Lin's eyes. A cute madman had come to give Wang Lin great fortune, but a cute fellow cultivator had come to give him great fortune. Come on, don't be shy. Throw me a monthly ticket from the husband's center. Chapter 1537. Although Wang Lin's thunder essence was complete, there was still a trace of imperfection. However, now that his marrow was producing new blood, the imperfections were gone. Furthermore, because of the power of his meridians, the lightning became celestial lightning. True celestial lightning. The golden flame in his left eye was originally only an ethereal fire. It was still a distance away from Tao fire, let alone complete it. However, as the blood prayer created by his bone marrow flowed through his body, it suddenly turned into a compassionate fire that surpassed all other flames. The true power of a celestial. Just this celestial thunder and celestial destruction were enough for Wang Lin to kill all early-stage void waterfall cultivators. Even the middle nirvana void earth cultivator wouldn't be able to resist for long and would eventually die. Even void waterfall cultivators would be shaken by this true celestial thunder and celestial fire, and they would choose to retreat like crazy. As the new blood from the bone marrow flowed, the remaining 3 essences in Wang Lin's body, life and death, karma, and true and false, slowly changed. They slowly moved toward completion. They only needed an opportunity to reach Grand Tao with the help of the celestial bloodline. The appearance of this madman was a great fortune for Wang Lin. It was comparable to when he first obtained the inheritance of the ancient god in the land of the ancient god. It was enough to change his life. Even now, this good fortune wasn't over. Wang Lin's mind was clear, but he still couldn't move at all. He silently felt everything inside his body. This feeling was completely different from before, and it made him vaguely speculate in his heart. In particular, the new blood created from his bone marrow contained the aura of the heavens. This aura was celestial spiritual energy. As his blood flowed, even his primordial spirit was changing at a crazy rate. What Wang Lin didn't know was that even the 4 celestial realms, even the 4 celestial emperors, including Qing Lin, were still mortals compared to him. The goo in Wang Lin's body had reached a heaven-shaking degree. However, his body was extremely special. It could be said that it was a body that had never appeared since ancient times. His body was that of an ancient god and had the inheritance of the ancient order, but his goo veins had been affected by that madman's crazy actions. Damn, he had the bloodline of a celestial. This kind of appearance was too rare. The two completely repulsive forces continued to collide. Although the ancient power was fake, the celestial bloodline couldn't destroy it. Niu's arrival meant that Wang Lin's body was no longer complete. In this state of incompleteness, his lower body was in a state of recovery and collapse. His origin soul was also in a state of clarity and being imprisoned. If this kind of phenomenon continued, Wang Lin would become a living dead person. After he was refined, he could be called a treasure of the heavens and earth. This treasure AO was something that could be used by both immortals and ancients. At this moment, he had to make a choice. Should he choose the ancient inheritance and give up this heaven-shaking fortune, or should he choose this fortune and give up the ancient god inheritance that had accompanied him for thousands of years? This was a very difficult choice. Even if Wang Lin wanted to choose Niu, he couldn't do it right now. His origin soul couldn't move and had been separated from his body to a certain extent. Damn it, this king is tired to death. Just at this moment, the madman who had fainted due to excessive blood loss slowly woke up. His face was filled with exhaustion, but there was a hint of excitement as he looked at Wang Lin. After looking at Wang Lin, the excitement on the madman's face immediately disappeared and was replaced with boundless anger. I regret you. You still haven't recovered. This old man's blood, how much can that blood be exchanged for? So much blood. This blood can be used to warn that seven-colored girl to swallow this king's blood. If my big brother finds out about this blood, he will go crazy. The madman suddenly jumped up and grabbed Wang Lin's shoulder. He began to shake Wang Lin like crazy. Give your blood back to me. You took this king's clam blood and still haven't recovered. Are you trying to anger King Sen? Little Niu, go push this guy out and behead him. The madman was still angry as he stared at Wang Lin. He opened his mouth and bit down on Wang Lin's shoulder. He let out a low growl like a mad dog. This king will bite you to death, bite you to death. After tormenting the madman, he cursed again and again. His eyes turned red and became extremely ferocious. He stared at Wang Lin and let go of Wang Lin's shoulder. He covered his mouth and let out painful groans. I hate the cultivators of the ancient countries the most. These people's bodies are too hard. This king's teeth are hurting me to death. Little Red, quickly go get that thing from the Zhou family. This king forgot. Quickly go get it. If they don't give it to me, I'm afraid they'll say that I asked my big brother to steal it tomorrow. The madman walked to the side while groaning in pain. After muttering a few words, he turned around and stared at Wang Lin. He gradually showed signs of going crazy again. I don't believe it. Wait, let me think about it. The madman's red eyes flashed rapidly. After carving, he still couldn't think of a solution. He couldn't help but become even more irritated and rushed over to Wang Lin and roared. The madman knew how to kill a normal person. The more he couldn't think of a solution, the angrier he became. As his anger grew, he raised his right hand and grabbed his left arm. With a fierce pull, his left arm was separated from his body. There was no blood and the wound was extremely smooth. Holding his left arm, the madman didn't even look at it. He just stared at Wang Lin and let out a roar that even he couldn't understand. He waved his right hand and the left arm he had torn off slammed into the ground, creating a thunderous rumble. The madman's right hand moved faster and faster, and the thunderous rumbles became even louder. In the end, the madman jumped up and began to curse at Wang Lin's body. This curse lasted for several days. It wasn't until the madman's mouth was dry that he stopped. He put the left arm back on his body, and there was a flash of golden light. A circular mark appeared on the wound. This mark was filled with an ancient aura and was very complicated. Anyone who looked at it would be lost. This mark gave off a feeling like it had existed since the beginning of time. It was strange and mysterious. Looking at the mark on his left arm, the madman was startled, but soon, there was a flash of light in his eyes. I got it! Haha, I got it! The madman licked his lips and rubbed his hands. He excitedly ran to Wang Lin's side. In his view, this corpse was his toy, and he could find some fun in this boredom. However, if a person became crazy about playing with a corpse, then it would be terrifying. How could this king forget? The 3 seals of the celestial ancestor. Haha, the 3 seals of the celestial ancestor erosion. That's right, this is it. In his excitement, the madman's blood began to boil. He looked at Wang Lin and laughed, but as he laughed, there was a flash of confusion in his eyes. Something doesn't seem right. My good brother once said that even if I died, I couldn't give it to anyone who wasn't part of the celestial clan. I think he forced me to make a vow that I could give a small amount of my blood to others, but I couldn't give the 3 seals of the celestial ancestor to anyone but us? The madman hesitated for a moment and looked down at Wang Lin. That doesn't seem to be the case. Big Brother Poke said that anyone can give the 3 seals of the celestial ancestor. What exactly is it? The madman frowned and raised his right hand to hit his head. The more he hit, the more confused he became. This king has to listen to my big brother's words. It seems like I can teach it, but without an anchor, it's just like that. It's a pity I can only teach it. The madman nodded with a solemn expression. That's right, even Little Red said my memory is very good and I won't get an anchor. As the madman talked to himself, excitement appeared in his eyes once more. He licked his lips and raised his hands to quickly form seals. In an instant, the entire cultivation ink trembled, and the madman's body began to tremble violently. Faintly, the circular mark that had appeared on the wound on his left arm previously appeared between his brows. The heavens and earth split open, the Jia ancestor descends, the 3 seals become the fall of the celestial clan for generations. 1 seal changes the heavens. 2nd seal changes the path. 3rd seal changes. What do I change for? Little Red, what do I change for with the 3 seals? The madman was startled. He blinked and shook his head. I forgot. Milk, this king's memory is simply too good. I will definitely remember. As he muttered, he raised his right hand and hit the spot between his eyebrows. Shi Ming appeared and an indescribably powerful force rushed out of the planet and filled the entire nether beast's body. With a roar, the madman's right hand reached out as if he was digging out the mark between his eyebrows. His hand pressed down on the ancient god stars between Wang Lin's eyebrows. Celestial ancestors 3 seals, immortal celestial body. Just as the madman's right hand fell, a shocking force erupted from Wang Lin's body. This force rushed into the spot between his eyebrows and collided with the madman's right hand. As the thunderous rumble echoed, the madman coughed up blood and his body was thrown into the distance. As he fell, confusion appeared in his eyes and he muttered, I seem to remember. I can't teach it. In particular, if I don't teach it to the 3 great G families of the G country, it will cause a lot of trouble. What is this king worried about? This king clearly didn't teach it just now. I didn't teach it. This king's memory is very good, I don't remember teaching it. As he thought about it, his eyes rolled back and he fainted. Wang Lin's body trembled and his eyelids trembled rapidly. His mind was roaring. He had sensed the madman's movements, and the moment Yi Indu's right hand landed, he clearly felt the suppressed ancient power in his body erupt as if it had gone crazy. You madman! Wang Lin suddenly opened his eyes. The 2nd chapter was delivered. Writing the 3rd chapter. Seeking the best, seeking the moon. Chapter 1538. The moment Wang Lin opened his eyes, a round mark appeared between his eyebrows. This mark was almost exactly the same as the one in Crazy Xiao's eyebrow. The moment this mark appeared, it caused the shredding blood in Wang Lin's body to move like it was boiling. Originally, inside Wang Lin's body, this bloodline power was on par with the ancient god power. Although one side was suppressed, it wouldn't be destroyed and would continue to exist. However, the appearance of this mark ignited the flames of a great war. This caused the bloodline power inside Wang Lin's body to become monstrous. It wanted to destroy the ancient god power. As a result, the suppressed ancient god power also erupted with a desperate counterattack. They used Wang Lin's body as the battlefield to launch a life and death battle. After all, the bloodline power was an outsider, and it had just fused with Wang Lin. It couldn't compare to the ancient god power that had accompanied Wang Lin his entire life. The intensity of the battle reached a terrifying degree. The star between Wang Lin's eyebrows suddenly collapsed. One of the T-stars shattered and turned into a powerful ancient god power that surged into his body. With this ancient god power, his body completely recovered and his body returned to normal. However, the moment his body returned to normal, the mark between his eyebrows activated all the bloodline power inside his body and caused Wang Lin's body to collapse. This was a complete collapse. His arms, legs, entire body, even his head and primordial spirit, all of them suddenly collapsed and disintegrated. Blood and flesh flew in all directions. However, before they could fly too far away, an extremely pure immortal chi immediately surged out. This immortal chi suddenly coiled around and condensed into an indistinct figure. This blurry figure was an origin soul. However, it wasn't the origin soul of a cultivator, but the origin soul of a real celestial, the origin celestial. The moment the virtual immortal appeared, the blood of the blood centipede immediately gathered. As it wriggled, it turned into a body. This body was crystal clear and was filled with endless celestial xenon. From afar, the centipede's aura was chilling. However, the moment the body appeared, it suddenly trembled and exploded once more. Along with it, the star between the eyebrows of Wang Lin's origin celestial body also exploded. His immortal body collapsed and his flesh and blood flew everywhere. An auspicious aura erupted and surrounded Xiao Jin's flesh and blood, causing it to quickly gather together. In the blink of an eye, an ancient god that was thousands of feet tall appeared in the world. However, this ancient god body didn't appear for long before it collapsed once more. This cycle repeated itself. On this cultivation planet, Wang Lin was rapidly switching between the celestial body and the ancient god body. Every collapse brought unimaginable pain to him. His ancient power was still too much, and if he wanted to resist this celestial body, he would need to shatter the stars. Wang Lin had no choice but to shatter. Once he gave up, it would no longer be a matter of choice, but the ancient god power inside his body would turn into a storm and destroy everything. At that time, he had a feeling he would without a doubt die. He had to be calm and melted, otherwise this fortune would become a life and death calamity. T times of collapse, 7 times of immortal divinity transformation, and 7 times of immortal divinity transformation. All of this happened in the blink of an eye. Every time Wang Lin consumed a broken star, the Tao blessing power inside his body would increase greatly. After being converted to ancient power, it would become even more powerful. As a result, after T collapses, the Tao blessing power inside Wang Lin's body would become earth-shattering. Just at this moment, the 10th celestial body change began. This time Wang Lin shattered the vortex that hadn't reached the 8th wall yet. Thunderous rumbles echoed as his body rapidly changed from ancient god body to ancient god body for the 8th time. After the 8th time, what Wang Lin faced was no stars to shatter. The ancient god Min body suddenly exploded. Flesh and blood filled the air, and celestial spiritual energy surrounded it. It once again condensed the celestial body that had collapsed several times. Immortal celestial body. This immortal body came from the celestial ancestor's mark, and it was because of this mark that Wang Lin had this immortal body. The mark between his eyebrows flashed, causing the celestial neon energy inside his body to become even more dense. More celestial blood flowed through his body, as if his celestial body had completely suppressed the ancient god power and was about to take form. However, this was far from the end. If Wang Lin hadn't obtained the ancient order inheritance and was just an ordinary ancient god, then everything would have ended. He would have lost the ancient god inheritance and become a real celestial. Then he would have collapsed and died. However, his ancient god inheritance was that of a royal ancient god. It also contained the ancient god inheritance, especially the Yu ancestor's mark. Its origin was unknown, but its appearance not only triggered Wang Lin's bloodline, it also triggered Wang Lin's ancient god inheritance. Just as the madman had said, this mark couldn't be passed on to an outsider, and it definitely couldn't be obtained by the cultivators of the ancient countries, especially the three ancient families of the ancient countries. A sharp roar came from Wang Lin's mouth and countless cracks appeared on his celestial body. At the same time, the power of the Tao inheritance erupted. This eruption didn't cause any stars to shatter, but it caused the second trial of the ancient gods' 3 trials 7 calamities to arrive early. The early arrival of the second trial was caused by the Yu ancestor's mark. When Wang Lin's Tao inheritance was facing the danger of being expelled, the will of the Tao inheritance activated. There were 2 vague wills inside Wang Lin's body. One was ancient and one was celestial. The collision and choice of these 2 wills was the source of Wang Lin's delay. The early arrival of the second trial of the ancient god caused countless cracks to appear on his celestial body, and it began to collapse. This collapse collided with the second trial that was about to erupt. The 2 forces cancelled each other out in a strange way. They wanted to kill each other, including Wang Lin's origin soul. At this moment, everything was about to be destroyed. The heaven shaking and earth shattering. Wang Lin's body, his existence, completely collapsed at this moment. His ancient god body collapsed along with his flesh and blood. The ground of the cultivation planet trembled, and an invisible ripple spread out. All the mountains on the ground collapsed, leaving only Yishan's mirror-like continent. His celestial body collapsed, and his origin soul flew into the sky. The rumbling sound seemed to separate the sky from the nether realm. It replaced everything and caused the sky to turn golden. The world changed. A golden sky and a black earth. All of this was like a legend, but at this moment it really happened here. The madman had already woken up. Lying on the ground, he stared blankly at the scene. He rubbed his eyes and murmured, "Is my eyesight deceiving me? The golden sky and the black earth. Isn't this the first of the 9 songs and 3 signs that appeared when the immortal ancestor descended?" Just at this moment, a heaven-shaking roar came from the earth. The earth trembled as if a force was erupting from the earth. As the earth trembled, the madman saw a giant black shadow appear from the earth. It formed the shape of a mountain and shot into the sky. This giant shadow was as tall as the heavens and earth. It was an ancient Tao, ancient god. This god looked like Wang Lin. The 7 stars between his eyebrows rotated rapidly, and he let out a roar as he charged into the sky. He waved his giant fist and seemed to carry the power of the earth into the sky. At the same time, the golden light in the sky was like a golden ocean. A golden figure stepped out from the golden light. This golden figure was filled with celestial spiritual energy and was filled with power. He coldly stared at the ancient Tao, ancient god charging at him, and waved his sleeve. Endless ripples appeared in the golden sky. From afar, it looked like the person in the sky was wearing a large, golden cloak. This cloak was the entire sky. This person also looked like Wang Lin. The round mark between his eyebrows gave off endless, golden light. He waved his sleeves and it shot toward Ian God Dao Ji. The two Wang Lins closed in like crazy, as if they were going to fight to the death. They became more and more messy, and they got closer and closer. In a flash, the two Wang Lins collided. However, just as they collided and were about to destroy each other, a gentle, ghostly light appeared between them. This ghostly light was a bead the size of a baby's fist. The heaven-defying bead appeared once more. The eyes of the madman lying on the ground suddenly widened as he stared blankly at the bead. He muttered to himself, "This seems to be very, very important. It seems like my brother is also looking for it. It seems like this thing is… I forgot, what is this again? Little Red, what is this?" There was a thunderous bang as the power of the golden sky and black earth collided with the heaven-defying bead. The heaven-defying bead slowly rotated. After the first rotation, everything in the golden sky, including Wang Lin's shadow, was sucked into the heaven-defying bead like crazy. After fusing with the golden sky, a golden origin soul appeared outside the heaven-defying bead. The heaven-defying bead rotated once more. During the second rotation, the ancient god formed by the black earth was pulled back by the heaven-defying bead, just like the golden sky. It surrounded the golden origin celestial and turned into an ancient god body. However, this ancient god body gave off a faint golden light. He was Wang Lin. Time seemed to stop at this moment. After an unknown amount of time, Wang Lin's eyes suddenly opened. His left eye was a golden dog and his right eye was filled with lightning. The round mark between his eyebrows disappeared and 7 ancient god stars rotated, but these 7 stars were golden. Golden stars. The moment he opened his eyes, Wang Lin's body trembled and he coughed out a mouthful of blood. He viciously looked at the madman staring at him from the ground. He took a step forward and landed on the ground. His eyes lit up and he immediately sat down to cultivate in anger. After being swept by his gaze, the madman's mind trembled. He pretended not to see it and whistled while looking in another direction. However, he kept looking at Wang Lin to observe his reaction. After a long time, the madman let out a dry cough and looked at Wang Lin, who was washing his knees. He smiled and said, "Little girl, come and smile for this king. This king will reward you. Send it to the 3rd watch. 2 days and 7 watches. Can you accept my attitude? Forgive my big brother's mistake. Let me give you a monthly vote and have my confidence rise? I don't need a few hundred, just 100 hertz is enough, 100 hertz is enough." Chapter 1539. While speaking, the madman kept looking at Wang Lin's expression. When he saw that Wang Lin didn't react to his words, he scratched his head, got up, and carefully took a few steps closer. He rubbed his hands and smirked. "You can talk, but what is your name? Tell this king and this king will reward you." What answered him was still Wang Lin's silence, and closed his eyes to cultivate. "Not talking? You dare not talk. When I caught Little Red, he didn't talk, so I plucked out all his hair. Guess what happened next?" The madman took a few steps closer and sat across from Wang Lin. He began to chat with Wang Lin. "You can't guess, right? This king gave Little Red." "Ha ha, ha ha. Gave. Ha ha." As the madman spoke, he began to laugh while holding his stomach. After laughing for a long time, he stopped and viciously stared at Wang Lin. "Why aren't you laughing? Is what this king said not funny?" When this king spoke, even the Li family would laugh. If they didn't laugh, then this king would go find my big brother. I haven't said what I did to Little Red yet. Then aren't you going to ask me what I did to Little Red? Humph, if you don't want to ask, then this king will tell you. At that time, I forgot. The madman frowned and knocked his head. His eyes were filled with confusion. Damn it, how could I forget again? Once the madman started talking, there was almost no end to it. Once he started talking, it would last for several days without stopping. The more he talked, the more excited he became. His only regret was that Wang Lin was only listening and didn't answer. However, he was already very satisfied to have a living creature listen to him. His words were like countless mosquitoes echoing in the world, lingering for a long time. Wang Lin didn't hear a single word. His body was in chaos. His divine body was on the outside and his origin soul was replaced by his origin soul. Even deeper inside was the heaven-defying bead that was slowly rotating. According to a mortal's time, the heaven-defying bead would only spin once every 24 hours. The origin energy in his body had completely collapsed and disappeared. What replaced it was the dense celestial energy contained in the new blood that had been created in his bone marrow. This celestial power far surpassed the level of elemental energy, even though it was 100 or even 1,000 times less than Wang Lin's elemental energy in the past. If his elemental energy in the past was compared to a great river, then this celestial power was just a small stream. But even though it was like this trickle of immortal energy was sufficient to shock Wang Lin. He was able to sense that this strand of immortal energy contained an extremely terrifying and shocking aura. Due to the collapse of the 7 stars, his ancient god body had triggered the second calamity. Before the second calamity erupted, it was absorbed by his body due to the heaven-defying bead. As a result, the strength of his body was several times stronger than before. Every beat of his heart seemed to cause the world to rumble, and an invisible sound spread in all directions. A powerful feeling surged through Wang Lin's body. He was even confident that even a late-stage Nirvana Void cultivator wouldn't be able to escape from him. Only peak Nirvana Void cultivators, who were even more powerful than late-stage Nirvana Void cultivators, would have the power to fight him, because right now he was a combination of celestial and god. This was an extremely rare change in the countless stars. Wang Lin didn't know if this change was good or bad, but right now he felt intense pain coming from his body. Although his body and celestial origin body were in a state of fusion, the rejection still existed. Even the heaven-defying bead couldn't completely stop or change this rejection. It could only force Wang Lin's celestial origin and soul to fuse, but it couldn't dissipate the source of the pain in Wang Lin's body. If this rejection force couldn't be completely resolved, then Wang Lin wouldn't be able to display his full strength. Every time he used celestial origin energy, he would feel intense pain and be stopped by his ancient god body. He would only be able to display 20% of his power. However, just these 20% was enough for him to kill late-stage Nirvana Void cultivators. Wang Lin didn't know how strong he would be if he used all his power, but he knew that even esteemed Nanzhao wasn't his match after he used all his power. Similarly, the power of his body would be stopped by the celestial origin inside his body. If this was it, it wouldn't be a big deal, but what worried Wang Lin the most was that this rejection force was becoming even more intense. It was as if it could explode at any moment and destroy his body and celestial origin body. As it collapsed, his soul and everything else would die. This rejection force was like a sword of death hanging above his head that could fall at any moment. Wang Lin's mind worked rapidly as he sat there. He tried everything he could to resolve this rejection force, but in the end, he couldn't think of anything. Although the celestial ancestor mark between his eyebrows looked like it had collapsed, only Wang Lin knew that it hadn't collapsed. Instead, like his body and celestial origin, the mark had melted and fused with the 7 auspicious stars. This was why his ancient god stars had a golden auspicious star that had never appeared before in the Ji clan. Several days later, as the madman's spit flew, Wang Lin opened his eyes. The moment he opened his eyes, 2 rays of golden light shot out and landed in the madman's eyes. After being stared at by Wang Lin's golden gaze, the madman's words suddenly stopped. He stared dumbfoundedly at Wang Lin's eyes and was filled with confusion. He scratched his head and looked at Wang Lin, who was looking at him. He foolishly asked, How come you have my clan's golden eyes? But they are only light gold. This won't do. Look at this, king. As the madman spoke, he immediately sucked in a deep breath, causing his cheeks to puff up. Even his body seemed to have a gust of air rushing into his body, causing it to swell up. As he did so, his dull and lifeless eyes instantly became sharp, and 2 rays of golden light burst forth from his eyes. Under the golden light, the madman seemed to become a different person. He was filled with an unspeakable sense of majesty. How is it? This king is powerful, right? As soon as the madman opened his mouth, the majesty disappeared. Just you wait, this king can be even more powerful. The madman's face was filled with pride as he took a deep breath and his body swelled even more. Crackling sounds echoed as his body rapidly grew. Flesh and blood began to move on his skinny body. As he became stronger, he gave off a sense of majesty once more. But right at this moment, there was a thunder-like rumbling sound, and a stream of air directly spurted out from the madman's buttocks. His body was like a deflated balloon, and it directly fell down. The golden color of the double limit also instantly dissipated, and he once again became lifeless. The madman awkwardly scratched his head and his face turned red. He rubbed his hands and laughed. Accident, this is an accident. Wang Lin looked at the madman before him with a complicated expression. Under his gaze, the madman became even more embarrassed. He held his butt and retreated a few steps. It was an accident. I already said it was an accident. Why are you still looking at me like that? Strange, this king is rarely discouraged. Could it be that someone is missing me? The madman muttered to himself. He rubbed his buttocks with his right hand and subconsciously took a deep breath. Wang Lin let out a sigh. This madman had given him a great fortune, but at the same time, this fortune had almost killed him. In truth, if it wasn't for the celestial ancestor mark, Wang Lin's body wouldn't be like this. Although there would still be a rejection force, it wouldn't be as intense as it was right now. Forget it, what's the point of arguing with this madman? Wang Lin shook his head. What he was most worried about was the rejection force increasing. After pondering a bit, he withdrew his gaze and his right hand reached at the void. A crack to his storage space appeared and devilish energy erupted from it. The ancient devil he had obtained from the ancient tomb appeared in front of him. This ancient devil's body was originally petrified, but it changed when Wang Lin obtained the ancient order inheritance. Right now it was like a real body, and the 6 devil stars in its right eye rotated. However, this ancient devil had no soul, so it was still a corpse. Staring at the 6-star ancient devil, Wang Lin's original plan was to form a devil soul and turn this ancient devil into an avatar. However, the danger from the rejection force made him change his mind. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he pointed forward. The ancient devil's body trembled violently. As it trembled, its large body rapidly withered and shrank. In the end, all of its flesh and blood turned into strands of devilish energy that flew toward the ancient devil star in its right eye. In a flash, Ji-Mo's body completely disappeared and gathered inside the 6 devil stars. Then Wang Lin's right hand grabbed it and it flew toward Wang Lin's right eye. In an instant, the 6 devil stars entered Wang Lin's right eye and were imprinted on the golden lightning. The moment the devil stars formed a body, Wang Lin took a deep breath and his hand formed a seal. His body trembled and the 7 golden ancient god stars between his eyebrows shined brightly. The golden light seemed to enter his right eye and fuse with the 6 devil stars. The madman retreated not far away and stared at all of this. He rubbed his eyes and muttered, with the ancient god as the foundation and the ancient devil as the division, this is one of the 3 great families of the Ji country, the ancient Dao clan too. The 3 great families of the ancient country, the ancient Ji clan is based on the demon, and the ancient Shi clan is based on the devil. Strange, he is clearly a member of my celestial clan and has the immortal body that only my big brother and I have. How could he be a cultivator of the ancient country? Strange, very strange. Humph, humph, who was so bold to give a cultivator of the ancient country the immortal body of my celestial clan? If my big brother finds out about this, he will be extremely angry. No, this king must find out which bastard is so bold. The madman muttered to himself and became serious. Chapter 1540. Time slowly passed, and in the blink of an eye 3 days went by. During these 3 days, Wang Lin continued to transfer the rejection force in his body to the 6 stars in his right eye so that he could share the burden. Gradually, the 6 demon stars in his right eye turned golden and were hidden by the golden lightning. It was very difficult for others to see them. Only then did he slowly suppress the increasingly powerful rejection force in his body, causing the speed of its growth to slow down a bit. However, this method only delayed the danger a bit and could not solve the root of the problem. The rejection force was still like a shadow that surrounded Wang Lin. When he opened his eyes, Wang Lin's expression was very gloomy. He didn't even look at the madman and instead looked at the sky. I remember that on the battlefield, after I obtained the Li Guang Bao, the nether beast spat out a golden storm and devoured me with my will. The world I'm in right now is clearly inside the nether beast's body. It will be very easy to leave this place. While he was thinking, the madman saw that Wang Lin had woken up and became spirited. He pointed at Wang Lin and roared with a serious expression. "Speak, who gave you the immortal celestial body? Damn it, I want to see which bastard dares to do this." The madman's face was filled with anger. Wang Lin was startled and looked at the madman. After carefully looking at him and recalling everything that had happened, he was certain that this person was indeed a madman, and a madman with a very bad memory. This person's origin is great. He calls himself I, and his words are very shocking. Just who is he? When he saw Wang Lin's gaze sweep over, the madman immediately became excited. He seemed to have forgotten what he had just said and revealed a mischievous smile. "Ah, little girl, smile for me. I'll reward you, I'll definitely reward you." Wang Lin frowned and his expression became cold. He ignored the madman and flipped his right hand, causing a bow to appear. The bow had already fused with his blood when he woke up. Even if his physical body was destroyed, it would not be damaged in the slightest. It had fused with the virtual immortal in his body, and now, with a single thought, it appeared. However, the string on it was already broken and could not be used. Looking at the bow in his hand, Wang Lin's eyes flashed with a complicated expression. He let out a sigh and put it away, a thoughtful look in his eyes. What method can I use to get rid of this repulsive force? Seeing Wang Lin ignore him, the madman snorted and said to himself, "If you don't want to laugh, then don't laugh. This king won't reward you. This king's blood is very, very precious. A single drop is worth an immeasurable amount. I won't give it to you, not even a single drop." Although he said that, the madman's eyes turned and revealed a proud expression. He smiled at Wang Lin and said, forget it. This king is broad-minded. Since you're shy, then you can smile in the future. How about this, little girl? Tell this king your name and this king will reward you." "You won't even say your name. You. Then at least tell this king your age." "You still won't say it." "Good, this king likes stubborn little girls like you. The more you act like this, the more excited this king becomes." The madman laughed and began to ramble again. As he spoke, he began to walk around Wang Lin. As he walked, he continued to talk. Wang Lin gradually grew tired of listening. He stared at the madman and slowly said, "Noisy." The madman was startled and his eyes widened. He stopped and opened his mouth at Wang Lin. "No one dares to speak to this king like this. How dare you?" There was a flash of coldness in Wang Lin's eyes, and he waved his right hand. A golden gust of wind appeared out of nowhere and caused the entire planet to tremble. The madman was blown far away with a miserable scream. It was finally quiet. Wang Lin lowered his arm and began to ponder once more. However, Wang Lin had underestimated the madman's determination. He didn't have to think for long before a roar came from the distance. The madman quickly returned to Wang Lin and opened his mouth to let out a roar. Just as he was about to speak, Wang Lin's eyes widened in shock. Just as he was about to speak, really, Wang Lin waved his right hand and the gust of wind appeared once more. The madman let out a miserable scream and was blown away once more. Once, twice, thrice, until 7 or 8 times. Almost every time the madman was blown away, he would quickly return and roar before Wang Lin as if he wanted to finish his sentence. However, he never had the chance. The moment he returned, he would be blown away again. His miserable screams were extremely clear on the quiet planet. It wasn't until the 15th time that the coldness in Wang Lin's eyes became even stronger. He could faintly hear that there was a hint of joy in the madman's screams. When the madman returned for the 16th time, Wang Lin didn't wave his sleeves but waited for the madman to finish his sentence. So exciting! The madman's face was filled with excitement. After roaring at Wang Lin, he immediately closed his eyes. He revealed an intoxicated expression as if he was waiting for something. After a moment, he revealed a puzzled expression and opened his eyes to look at Wang Lin. Wang Lin also looked at him, and the coldness in his eyes became even stronger. Flying mouth net, flying mouth net. The madman blinked and jumped a few times. His hands spread out as if he was going to fly. After seeing that Wang Lin didn't respond, he became very angry. With his back toward Wang Lin, he jumped a few more times before turning around and seriously saying, "This king is having fun. Quickly continue." Wang Lin felt like he was going to collapse. He clenched his teeth and didn't wave his sleeve. Instead, he stood up and mercilessly kicked the madman's butt. He used 70% of his physical power without touching the rejection force. 70% of his physical power was enough to shake a mid-stage Nirvana Void cultivator. A gust of wind swept by and Wang Lin's foot landed on the madman. The madman let out an excited scream as he was kicked into the air. His arms were stretched out in an arc as he was thrown into the distance. A moment later, the madman ran back for the 17th time. The excitement on his face had reached a peak. This time, he didn't speak but stood a few dozen feet away from Wang Lin and let out a roar. Then he immediately turned around, raised his butt, closed his eyes, and opened his arms. Wang Lin clenched his fist. After taking a deep breath, he gradually calmed down. "You like to roar, right? Good." Wang Lin's right hand reached at the void and his storage space opened. A giant, black ape rushed out and landed on the ground with a bang. This black ape was the one Wang Lin had found on a continent in the Cloud Sea. Although it was weak, it loved to roar. After the black ape appeared, it let out a roar at the sky. It waved its thick arms and mercilessly hit its chest, creating loud bangs. The madman stared in shock, then turned to look at the black ape. His eyes flickered with excitement, and he walked directly in front of the black ape. Roaring at the ape, he imitated the madman, slapping his chest with both hands. The black ape's eyes were filled with doubt as it stared at the person before it. It saw through the other person's provocation. Although the other person's aura made it afraid, under Wang Lin's divine sense, this fear slowly dissipated and was replaced with anger. It began to roar once more. Just like this, the man and ape faced each other and began to roar. Both seemed to want to suppress the other, and the roars became even more intense. Wang Lin let out a sigh of relief and no longer paid attention to the madman. He closed his eyes and began to think of a way to deal with the rejection force. Slowly, he had some clues. "I have 5 essences, and the most difficult ones are life and death, karma, and true and false. If these 3 essences reach completion and turn into a grand Tao, I can use this method to control the rejection force inside my body. I can use the life and death essence to see through life and death and transform the rejection force into life and death. I can use the karma essence to form a Tao and make the two divided rejection force form a cycle. Finally, I can use the true and false essence to deceive the rejection force. Just like the Tao of deception, I can completely fuse my celestial origin and ancient Tao. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. After carefully thinking it over, his eyes were filled with determination. This way, with 5 essences complete, I can break open the void gate and become a true third-step cultivator. At that time, how strong will I be? Wang Lin clenched his fist. Life and death, karma, true and false. I've analyzed how to complete these 3 essences. Right now I'm still missing one more thing, and that will increase my confidence. Tao fruit, I still need a few Tao fruits, the more the better. As he pondered, the roars in Wang Lin's ears gradually weakened. The black ape couldn't bear the continuous roars, and its voice had become hoarse. It looked at the madman with fear in its eyes. After retreating a few steps, the black ape no longer dared to roar and looked at Wang Lin with a pleading gaze. The madman was even more proud. Although his face was tired and his voice was hoarse, he was filled with excitement. He hit his chest and laughed. This king grew up roaring at my big brother. Even Little Red is afraid of me roaring. Who doesn't know that this king has the loudest voice and the best roar on the immortal astral continent? A mere little monkey like you dares to compete with this king in roaring? Come, after we compete in roaring we compete in Tao spells. What do you think of this king's spell? It looks so good. The madman gasped for breath and pointed at the sky. There was a flash of light in the sky and a giant palm slowly condensed. This palm gave off a powerful sense of majesty and the lines on it were clear. It turned into a giant palm print that descended from the sky. War Spirit Print. Wang Lin's eyes suddenly narrowed and his expression changed. He remembered that when he couldn't move, the madman had used a lot of spells, and every single one of them was incomparably authentic. Staring at the War Spirit Print descending from the sky, Wang Lin's heart skipped a beat. This was another great fortune the madman had given him after obtaining the celestial bloodline. I'm very close to first place. Thank you, fellow cultivators. Tomorrow I'll erupt and charge for first place. Chapter 1541. Wang Lin's eyes became serious as he stared at the giant palm print in the sky. This palm print seemed to have appeared from the sky, and ripples spread in all directions. On the palm, every palm print was extremely clear. It looked like a real palm and not an illusion. This print was very similar to the War Spirit Print Wang Lin had learned, but there were some subtle differences. The War Spirit Print he knew was just a giant palm without any clear palm print. Once it appeared, it would absorb origin energy from the world and become extremely large. It contained a heaven-shaking power, but it was not easy to control. As the War Spirit Print grew larger and larger, it would absorb even more origin energy. Eventually, this print would go out of control. Wang Lin understood that this was because he hadn't obtained the inheritance of the War Spirit Print but had comprehended it himself. The real War Spirit Print, especially when used by Taoist water, obviously didn't have these flaws. However, even when Taoist water used the War Spirit Print, the fingerprints on his palm weren't as clear as this madman's. There were also no strange ripples on the edge of the palm. These ripples looked like the black tortoise's strongest spell, tremor. The power of tremor. As he observed, Wang Lin's expression became extremely serious. He watched the War Spirit Print land on the ground, causing the earth to tremble. A monstrous shockwave spread in all directions and shrouded the entire area in fog. Wang Lin was also under the palm print, and when he felt it land on his body, his eyes revealed a hint of deduction. He was constantly trying to figure out how to use this spell. What a good War Spirit Print! The power of tremor shakes the world like a slave, enslaving the origin energy of the world into a palm print, or enslaving the origin energy of the world into a spirit. This spirit is then filled with celestial spiritual energy and becomes the war spirit print. However, there are still some details that aren't clear. I need to learn the secret chant of the war spirit print inheritance. Wang Lin licked his lips and his eyes shined brightly. After the dust settled, the madman revealed a proud expression and began to laugh. How is it? How is it? Is this king's divine power powerful? While laughing like crazy, the madman looked like he was showing off to the black ape, but in truth, his gaze swept past Wang Lin, and his gaze was filled with pride. Wang Lin smiled. He looked at the madman, and the smile on his face grew wider. Seeing Wang Lin's smile, the madman became confused. He looked down at his body and scratched his head, not understanding why Wang Lin was smiling. This divine ability is passable, but I also know this technique, and its power is much stronger than yours, Wang Lin said slowly, his voice neither too fast nor too slow. The madman's eyes revealed a look of disdain as he pointed at Wang Lin. He bared his teeth and said, "This king's divine powers are the most powerful. Other than my brother, no one can beat me. Do you want to learn it secretly? Let this king tell you. My brother has said that this king's mystiques and Tao techniques are not to be taught to anyone. Don't even think about it. I won't teach them even if you beat me to death." Back then, someone wanted to learn it secretly, but I saw through him at a glance. This king is very smart, so don't even think about deceiving me. Wang Lin no longer spoke. He raised his right hand and pressed down at the sky. The sky rumbled and a blurry palm print appeared. After the palm print appeared, it began to absorb the surrounding origin energy like crazy. As it became clear, it smashed down. As it descended, a great pressure descended from the sky, and a wild wind blew, shaking the ground. The ground cracked, and a huge ravine was torn open. The madman's messy hair was blown by the wind and his eyes were dull. He stared dumbfoundedly at the palm print. Just as it was about to land, Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He took a deep breath, pointed with his right hand and muttered, "Doubt, condense, condense." After the 3 words, condense, the palm print rapidly shrank. However, as it shrank, it showed signs of instability, as if it was going to escape his control. In the end, it landed on the planet with a bang, causing the entire planet to tremble. The madman was thrown into the air by the tremors. A giant palm print was clearly imprinted on the planet in the distance. This palm print was hundreds of thousands of feet wide, and from afar, it looked like a sinkhole. If you can use the spell you just used and create a sinkhole like this, then I'll admit that your spell is very powerful. Wang Lin spoke slowly and revealed a hint of contempt. It was this trace of contempt that caused the madman's eyes to immediately turn red. He frantically waved his arms and pounded his chest, letting out a series of low roars. This was a movement he had just learned from the black ape, and he felt that this movement was very domineering. This king is the most powerful, just you wait. The madman was filled with anger as he took a step forward and used a spell. His right hand pointed at the sky and he let out a roar. A giant palm print appeared out of thin air and he waved his right hand. The palm print landed on the ground and kicked up a large amount of dust, leaving a shallow mark on the ground. The madman was startled for a moment. He looked at the shallow mark and then at the sinkhole Wang Lin had created. His eyes were filled with madness and his roar became even more intense. He used the same war spirit print once more. Wang Lin was completely focused on the side. His eyes shined as he deduced like crazy. He wanted to memorize all the details of the war spirit print. At this moment, he had forgotten everything, and the only thing left in his eyes was the madman using the war spirit print over and over again. There would be no more opportunities for someone to continuously use the same spell before him. Even between a master and disciple, it would be difficult to have such an opportunity. Half an hour later, the madman had used the war spirit print dozens of times on the same ground, causing the mark to become deeper. However, it was still far from Wang Lin's sinkhole. The madman was already panting. He was very tired from using the same spell again and again. Just as he was about to give up, he peeked at Wang Lin and saw the contempt and ridicule on Wang Lin's face. The madman was enraged by what he saw. Damn it, this king doesn't believe it. He let out a roar as if he had forgotten his exhaustion. He continued to use the war spirit print like crazy and bombarded the earth. 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours. Every time he wanted to give up, he would see the contempt on Wang Lin's face become even stronger. He couldn't accept this. Wang Lin's eyes were bloodshot as he carefully observed while waving his right hand. He was using his shocking comprehension to quickly analyze and deduce the spell. After 12 hours, the madman had used the war spirit print hundreds of times. He was sweating profusely and his tongue was sticking out. He was so tired that he didn't even have time to pant. Damn it, I'm too tired. I'm not playing anymore. If I can't beat him, then I can't beat him. This king is going to sleep. As he muttered, he was about to give up when he subconsciously looked at Wang Lin. This gaze caused him to be startled. He saw a hint of shock on Wang Lin's face. It was this hint of shock that made the madman, who had already decided to give up, suddenly become excited. He let out a roar and hit his chest. If Wang Lin was still filled with contempt, the madman would have chosen to ignore him. After all, he was too tired. However, the shock on Wang Lin's face gave him confidence. Haha, this little girl is finally no longer filled with contempt. Humph, good, this king will work harder, and let him know how powerful this king is. The madman excitedly turned around and bombarded once more. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he quickly searched. As time passed, a clear palm print appeared in his eyes. This palm print was engraved in his mind and became more and more profound. 8 hours, 10 hours. After 14 hours, the madman's roar was hoarse and his eyes were bloodshot. As he roared, he pressed the last war spirit print on the ground. The earth rumbled, and after 14 hours a deep pit appeared. It was about the same depth as Wang Lin's palm print. After doing all this, the madman crawled on the ground, breathing heavily. His face was filled with exhaustion, but he still pulled himself together and shouted at Wang Lin in a hoarse voice, "How was it? How was it? My divine ability is the most powerful." Wang Lin's expression was filled with shock as he slowly said, "I need to check this myself." "Go and check." This king will be waiting." The madman's eyes were filled with disdain, but it couldn't hide the pride on his face. Wang Lin's shocked gaze made him extremely satisfied. It was as if all his exhaustion was nothing. Wang Lin got up and walked toward the pit the madman had made. He carefully observed it for a long time. The madman looked like he was resting, but his eyes were constantly staring at Wang Lin's expression. He wanted to see more shock. However, the madman gradually felt like something was wrong. Wang Lin's expression was originally filled with shock, but the shock slowly disappeared and was replaced with calmness. The contempt that made him so excited unexpectedly appeared once more. Seeing the disdain on Wang Lin's face, the madman immediately became angry. He stared at Wang Lin and bared his teeth. "I didn't expect you to be so sinister. Your divine ability clearly can't compare to mine, but you secretly did something." Wang Lin shook his head and his expression became even more disdainful. He turned around and sat down. He didn't even look at the madman. The madman was startled for a moment and his face turned red. He rushed before Wang Lin and roared, "I didn't, this king didn't." Wang Lin opened his eyes and coldly said, "The divine ability you used these past few hours is not the same as the first one. Don't think you can lie to me. You're falsely accusing me. This king clearly used the same divine ability. It can't be wrong. Go and take a closer look. This king didn't lie to you." The madman was anxious, and there was even faint moisture in his eyes. He felt very wronged, very wronged. He had worked hard for several hours and finally achieved this with great difficulty, but he was actually said to have been lied to. Chapter 1542. I've already seen it, it's not just one. Wang Lin's words were decisive as he coldly looked at the madman. There was a hint of disdain in his eyes, but there was also a hint of regret. It was this hint of regret that made the madman's eyes water up even more. In the end, he actually began to cry. His cry immediately made Wang Lin feel apologetic. He felt like an uncle trying to swindle a toy from a child. Forget it, karma, karma. I met this person in the nether beast's body. He gave me celestial blood and great fortune, and now I've used this method to obtain a spell. I'll have to repay this in the future. Cultivators rarely go crazy, so there must be a great story behind this person. I, Wang Lin, clearly distinguish between gratitude and grudges. Today, I'll make another vow that his matters will be my matters. Wang Lin looked at the madman before him, and there was a hidden gentleness in the depths of his eyes. This king didn't lie, this king clearly used the same spell. This spell is called the War Spirit Print. My big brother stole it from the Gemini celestial sovereign and taught it to me. The madman hadn't washed his face for a long time, and when his tears flowed, 2 lines of black mud appeared on his face. He wiped his tears and revealed a wronged expression as he roared at Wang Lin. If you don't believe me, I'll tell you the incantation. This king has never lied since I was young. My big brother said that if I lied, he would beat me. The madman felt extremely wronged, and he didn't hesitate to recite the incantation of the War Spirit Print. Look, look, this is the chant. Cultivate it yourself and use it. See for yourself if I'm lying. I clearly worked hard to win, but you're acting shamelessly. I'm not playing with you anymore. The madman became angry again and sat down on the side with a wronged expression. He deliberately didn't look at Wang Lin. Wang Lin's heart pounded. He had completely memorized the chant, and after reciting it in his heart, he immediately grasped everything he didn't understand. He raised his right hand and pointed at the sky. A very authentic War Spirit Print appeared. It didn't descend, but a powerful pressure spread across the world. Looking up at the War Spirit Print, Wang Lin's pupils shrank and excitement filled his heart. With his cultivation level, he could clearly feel that the real War Spirit Print was not a spell but a Tao spell. It was an extremely powerful technique of the great Tao that could destroy the world. Just 1 palm was enough to cause Wang Lin's strength to instantly increase through the mysterious change within it. Most importantly, the War Spirit Seal wasn't just a single palm. It contained 3 auras, and if all of them were used together with enough cultivation, it could be transformed into 3 palms that would strike down at the same time to destroy the body, mind, and soul. What Taoist water used could only destroy the body. The Tao spell I learned is the real War Spirit Print. Wang Lin took a deep breath. After memorizing the War Spirit Print, he looked at the madman. In his eyes, the madman was like a giant treasure that could drop at any time. Okay, don't cry. I admit that your spell is indeed powerful. I wronged you before. Wang Lin had an apologetic expression. There was a hint of gentleness in his eyes as he got up and clasped his hands at the madman. The madman let out a cold snort and turned his head to the side, not looking at Wang Lin. Wang Lin revealed a wry smile as he pondered. His right hand reached out and several pills were taken out. The pills he chose all had strong medicinal fragrances. The moment they appeared, bursts of fragrance filled the area. The madman's nose twitched and he subconsciously sniffed a few times. He licked his lips but forced himself not to look. However, his eyes kept glancing at the pills. These pills are nothing. Even the worst pill this king fed Lil read back then was much better than these. Wang Lin revealed a smile that wasn't a smile. His right hand held a pill and he gently squeezed. The pill broke and the fragrance immediately spread. The madman resisted the urge, but his stomach rumbled. It had been a long time since he had eaten a pill, and he couldn't bear it anymore. "I'll give you these pills as compensation for wronging you before, okay?" Wang Lin's voice was soft as he slowly spoke. He waved his hand and the pills flew toward the madman and floated before him. The madman swallowed a mouthful of saliva and turned around to stare at the pills. He said with disdain, "This king didn't even take a look at these things back then. They're too lousy, too lousy. Forget it, since you want to flatter this king, then this king will reluctantly accept them." As he spoke, his right hand quickly reached out and grabbed the pills. His eyes lit up, and he threw them all into his mouth. With a crunching sound, he chewed a few times, and the fragrance went into his stomach. Wang Lin revealed a smile and clasped his hands. "Your spell is indeed amazing, but is this the only one?" The madman was proud when he suddenly became vigilant and stared at Wang Lin. "I remember hearing someone say this before. Who was it? Little Red, who was it that said this? I forgot. But this king remembers that the purpose of that person was to cheat me of my Dao spells. This king is a smart person, how could I be fooled? Don't even think about cheating me of my Dao spells. Even if I die, I won't tell you any chants or spells." The madman raised his head and let out a cold snort with a sense of superiority. He shook his head and sighed. "Alas, learning too many Dao spells is a very troublesome thing. There's nothing I can do, this king is too talented, so I've learned a lot. However, seeing how respectful you are, I'll show you a bit, but don't think about making me teach you, no way." As the madman spoke, he stood up and stretched his arms. He proudly raised his right hand and pointed it forward. Suddenly, the sky darkened and a sea of crimson flames filled the air. A huge umbrella materialized out of thin air. This umbrella used the sky as its canopy, and under the umbrella, the endless sea of fire condensed into a giant umbrella pole. A destructive flame filled the area and suddenly formed 9 umbrella-shaped flames. These flames burned and contained an indescribably terrifying aura. Wang Lin's pupils shrank. He recognized this spell. It was very similar to his realm-burning umbrella. However, the difference was that his great Dao spell required him to open the umbrella, but the madman's spell opened the moment it appeared. It looked similar, but the difference was like heaven and earth. "How is it? This king is powerful, right? If this umbrella is closed, it will be very powerful." The madman waved his right hand and the umbrella silently disappeared into the sky. "I'm not going to teach you. You can see it but not learn it. This king still has more, just watch." The madman proudly raised his hands and formed a seal. His hands circled around his body, as if he was about to shoot an arrow. If he had a bow in his hand, he would look exactly like the Taoist Li Guang that Wang Lin had seen in the past. A shocking arrow energy erupted from the madman's hands. It was as if the moment he let go, the world would be torn apart by this arrow energy. "This king knows a lot, this is nothing, I still have more." The madman seemed to be interested. When he saw Wang Lin's serious expression, he became even more proud. He let out another roar and let go of his hands. As the shocking arrow energy dissipated, his hands formed a seal and he waved them at the sky. The sky shook and red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, blue, purple, tea-colored light suddenly appeared. This tea-colored light rapidly condensed and impressively turned into a tea-colored long spear. This lance was earth-shattering and occupied the entire sky. As the tip of the lance moved, a thunderous rumble echoed as if the sky was going to be torn apart. The dazzling tea-colored light coming from the tip of the lance made Wang Lin's hair stand on end, and he instantly broke out in cold sweat. The 7-colored light contained the power of emotions. When it appeared, it seemed like it could affect the emotions of anyone who saw it. This was similar to ethereal fire, but to Wang Lin, it was far more powerful than ethereal fire. The madman let go of his hands and the sky returned to normal. He revealed an excited smile and said, How is it? This king is powerful, right? Do you want to learn? Do you want to? Let this king tell you, there are too many people who want to learn my Tao spells. Humph, humph, this king has seen all kinds of people, but none of them can fool me. Even if you beat me to death, I won't teach you. It's useless even if you want to learn. This king can't do anything about it. Ah, how pitiful! The madman shook his head and his expression became even more proud. Let me think, how will you answer? I remember someone's answer was no, then they pretended to be indifferent to arouse this king's interest. The result, ha 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 ha, guess what the result was, ha 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 ha, I'm dying of laughter. The madman immediately hugged his stomach and laughed. If you answer yes, this king will sternly reject you. Little girl, this king's mouth is very, very tight. Even if you try to seduce me, it will be useless. The madman began to chatter again, and the more he spoke, the more excited he became. Looking at the madman, Wang Lin slowly revealed a smile. I remember that in the nether beast's memory, this person didn't know this beast and was scared by the nether beast back then. The smile on Wang Lin's face became even stronger. The madman felt like something bad was going to happen when he was stared at by Wang Lin, especially when he saw Wang Lin's smile. He vaguely remembered that after Wang Lin smiled, he had been using the war spirit print for several hours until he was panting from exhaustion. Just at this moment, the entire cultivation planet suddenly trembled. It was as if a storm had appeared in the gray sky. As the rumble echoed, the sky seemed like it was going to be torn apart. A giant shadow appeared in the sky. The shadow was very large, like a whale. There were two long whiskers on its face that continued to dance. It was the nether beast. When it felt Wang Lin's call, a soul shadow appeared in the world inside its body. The moment it appeared, the pride on the madman's face collapsed. His pupils shrank, his body trembled violently, and he let out a miserable scream. Ah, you chased me all the way here. Damn it, you still won't let me go. I don't taste good, I really don't taste good. Chapter 1543. The moment the madman screamed, the nether beast called over by Wang Lin was startled. It stared dumbfoundedly at the madman and slowly recognized that the madman was that person from back then. After it recognized the madman, a thunderous roar came from the nether beast's soul. Its body trembled in fear, and its roar became even more intense. This roar made the madman even more afraid. He quickly retreated and his face turned pale. If Wang Lin wasn't here, the nether beast would have escaped like crazy without any hesitation. However, the other side of its personality caused it to turn around after a brief moment of fear. Its expression became ferocious, and it let out another roar at the madman. Its giant body appeared and charged forward. The madman screamed once more and quickly retreated. However, the more he retreated, the more ferocious the nether beast became. It was about to close in on the madman. The two giant whiskers continued to shake, creating popping sounds. The nether beast was extremely excited. It had been scared away by others all its life, and had never experienced the joy of scaring others. Now that it experienced it, even its soul was excited. The roar became even louder and the nether beast closed in once more. Because it was too close, one of its whiskers touched the madman. The madman screamed and retreated. Similarly, because the whisker touched the madman, the nether beast trembled and retreated a bit. After maintaining a certain distance, it let out another ferocious roar to scare the madman. Little Red, quickly come and save me. Go and let it eat you, don't come and eat this king really doesn't taste good. The madman's body trembled. He was completely scared out of his wit. Protect. Which warrior quickly come and protect me? The madman had already lost control of his words and fell to the ground. His body trembled and he continued to crawl back. His expression was miserable, and it was clear that he was terrified by the nether beast. Just as he was about to give up all hope, Wang Lin took a step forward and stood in front of the madman. At this moment, his figure made the madman feel extremely majestic. You're still the best. You're really good to this king, even better than my brother. Hurry up and stop this vicious beast, it wants to eat this king. This king doesn't taste good. The madman's expression was one of excitement. He didn't expect that at this critical moment, Wang Lin would stand in front of him. He was so touched that he almost forgot everything else. In his eyes, Wang Lin had become the only person he could rely on. This king wants to reward you. This king will reward you with little red, this king will reward you with little silver, this king will also give you that tea-colored girl. This king has 40,000 beauties, I will give them all to you. Wang Lin didn't speak and raised his right hand. At the same time, he sent out a divine sense message. The nether beast was startled for a moment. With its intelligence, it didn't seem to understand what Wang Lin meant. It began to ponder Wang Lin's divine sense message. Although it was pondering, its body subconsciously wanted to rush toward Wang Lin and touch him with its head. In the madman's eyes, the nether beast was charging at Wang Lin. In an instant, the nether beast touched Wang Lin's body. Wang Lin's expression changed and he coughed out a mouthful of blood. He retreated a few steps, grabbed the madman, and quickly retreated. Wang Lin's retreat caused the nether beast to be startled for a moment. It stared at Wang Lin with confusion in its eyes. It didn't understand why its master was retreating. It hadn't hit its master yet, but under Wang Lin's divine sense message, the nether beast chose to listen. In its eyes, this was a game its master wanted to play with it. Thinking about this, it became excited and let out a roar as it chased after Wang Lin. Its huge body moved, causing the world to change colors and thunderous rumbles to echo in all directions. Its momentum was shocking. Ah, it's coming again, it's coming again. It wants to eat me, it won't let me go. The madman screamed as he was caught by Wang Lin. There was even more regret in Wang Lin's eyes, but he hid it and didn't reveal it. Warrior, save me, warrior, save me. I'll let my big brother bestow you the title of king. I'll let my big brother give you all his concubines. Warrior, save me. This beast is extremely powerful. Even I am not its match. This beast loves to eat humans the most. Furthermore, it puts a living incense in its mouth and slowly bites it into pieces. After that, it will continue to corrode the human body. It's fine if the human body is weak, as they will die in an instant. The scariest thing about this beast is that the human body is extremely hard to destroy. As such, the human body will continue to be bitten and corroded by the beast for thousands of years until they die. Wang Lin grabbed the madman and quickly retreated, but he couldn't outrun the nether beast. He had to maintain a certain distance, and the distance was very close. It was as if the nether beast's whiskers were right in front of him. This distance created a great amount of pressure on the madman, and it made him feel fear. Then what should we do? What should we do? Why don't you let it eat me? When it's full, maybe it won't eat me. The madman trembled and looked like he was about to cry. Tears soon appeared in his eyes. Wang Lin was so angry that he laughed. He turned to look at the madman and said, word for word, "Look at its huge body. Will eating one make you full?" The madman was startled and carefully looked at the nether beast chasing them. His face immediately turned pale and he shook his head. Unfortunately, I only have cultivation but no spells to use. If I had those spells, perhaps I could drive this beast away. Wang Lin let out a sigh. That's right, what should I do, what should I do? I'm going to die, I'm going to be eaten, it's over, it's over. The madman trembled and his eyes were filled with despair. I've been afraid of fierce beasts since I was a child, especially such a big one. Just at this moment, the two whiskers of the nether beast subconsciously swept past the madman. The wind blew into the madman's face, causing him to let out another miserable scream. The madman's eyes suddenly lit up and he shouted, I know a spell, I know a spell. D-roar. That's right, I know it. This king is too smart. Hurry up and learn it. Once you learn it, you can chase this beast away. He didn't hesitate to blindly recite the chant and everything about the realm-burning umbrella. Wang Lin's expression remained the same, but his heart raced. He memorized the chant without missing a single detail. His eyes lit up and he continued to verify it in his heart. The more he verified, the more serious he became. This chant was extremely accurate. Even the master of Rosefinch could only secretly learn it and didn't fully master it. However, this level of Tao technique was not something that could be learned immediately. It would take many years of secluded cultivation and constant enlightenment before one could truly unleash its power. Wang Lin's left hand formed a seal and millions of restrictions appeared. The realm-burning umbrella that he had secretly learned appeared. The moment the umbrella appeared, the nether beast's body trembled. Its eyes were filled with fear and its mind was sluggish. It didn't understand what was happening and why its master was using this spell on it. The moment the umbrella appeared, it suddenly collapsed. Wang Lin quickly retreated with the madman and said, "It's still not enough. If it's not enough, then I have the Li family's heaven-shattering bow. I'll teach it to you. Quickly drive this beast away." The madman was very nervous and immediately recited the chant. After he finished speaking, he seemed to still be worried. When the whiskers of the nether beast swept by him, the madman immediately said, "I'll also tell you about the rainbow spell, but I can't say anything else. Even if I'm defeated by this beast, I can't say it." Wang Lin couldn't bear to push the madman too hard. If it wasn't for the fact that the spells were too useful to him, he wouldn't be like this. At this moment, he felt even more apologetic, but at the same time, there was karma in Wang Lin's heart. Although the madman's actions were a bit shameless, he, Wang Lin, would repay it several-fold in the future. Once a cultivator made a decision, they wouldn't hesitate anymore. Wang Lin was such a person. He had firmly remembered the madman's kindness and would never forget it. Even if he encountered a disaster in the future, he wouldn't hesitate to continue. All of this was because of the 4 words in his name: repay kindness. After memorizing the 7 colored lance and the Li family's heaven-shattering bow, Wang Lin suddenly stopped. He raised his left hand and smashed down on the nether beast behind him. As the thunderous rumbles echoed, Wang Lin let go of his right hand and threw the madman down. At the same time, he waved his right hand and a thick fog surrounded him and the nether beast so the madman couldn't see. Thunderous rumbles echoed across the world. The madman landed on the ground and trembled as he looked at the fog in the sky. He became excited. "You're not a warrior, you're this king's benefactor. My brother once said that I must repay kindness. Don't worry, after you die, I'll repay you. Don't worry and go block this big beast." As the madman spoke, he quickly got up and ran off into the distance without looking back. "Benefactor, have a safe trip. This king will definitely remember this and repay you." The madman ran faster and faster, and in the blink of an eye, he was far away. The thunderous rumbles became even more intense, but they didn't last for long. The fog dissipated and Wang Lin walked out. He looked at the madman in the distance and walked forward. The nether beast followed behind Wang Lin and ferociously chased after him. As the madman ran, he looked back and let out another miserable scream. He muttered, it's over, I'm going to be eaten this time." In his fear, he clenched his teeth and closed his eyes. He stretched out his neck and shouted, Eat, what's the big deal? However, after waiting for a long time, the feeling of being eaten didn't appear. The madman slowly opened his eyes in fear and was startled. He looked at the beast that terrified him and revealed an intimate expression. He rubbed against Wang Lin. Wang Lin placed his right hand on the beast and gently patted it. "You subdued it? You actually subdued it." The madman was startled for a moment before his eyes became filled with fanaticism and he stared at Wang Lin. "My brother said that there are many experts in the U-Star Great Sky, and you must be one of them. For this beast to make me so afraid, I reckon that even my brother can't subdue it." Expert, please accept me as your disciple. You must accept me as your disciple. Chapter 1544. Teacher, please accept disciple's bow. Inside the nether beast, on the broken cultivation planet, before Wang Lin, the madman knelt down and continued to kowtow. The madman directly knelt down and kowtowed continuously. His expression was solemn, and his eyes were filled with fervent reverence. I swear by my celestial ancestor that this king, Lien Daofei, is willing to take an expert as my teacher and will never betray the sect. Greetings, teacher. As the madman spoke, he raised his right hand and hit the spot between his eyebrows. A mysterious force came out from his body and charged toward Wang Lin. In the blink of an eye, it entered Wang Lin's body. Even Wang Lin was startled by this scene. His original intention was to scare the madman and ask for the chant for the spell. He didn't expect such a turn of events to occur. Teacher, quickly teach me how to subdue this beast. I want to learn this. Once I learn it, if I see a beast that wants to eat me again, I'll charge up and capture the moon concealment. The madman excitedly looked at Wang Lin as he sat down. His tone was very proud and he thought in his heart, Master, quickly teach me how to subdue this beast. Humph, I'm still the smartest. This time, I found an expert for my brother, and I can also learn a divine ability. This is a good deal, a very good deal. If my brother knew about this, he would definitely praise me. Wang Lin's expression became strange and his right hand hit the nether beast. The nether beast immediately disappeared without a trace. The entire cultivation planet became silent, and only the two of them remained. His gaze fell on the madman's face, and Wang Lin revealed a smile. Wang Lin slowly said, The spell to subdue this beast is very mysterious. Now is not the time to teach it to you. Teacher needs to know what other spells you know before I can choose. The madman's eyes turned and he blinked. I don't know any more, that's all. I've forgotten about the others. Since you don't want to say it, then forget it. Wang Lin smiled and changed the topic. However, do you want to leave this place? The madman's expression immediately became excited. He quickly stood up and nodded vigorously. He loudly said, Yes, I've always wanted to leave this place, but I couldn't find a way out after searching for a long time. I can take you away, but I want to know what your strongest Tao technique is. Wang Lin chuckled as he sat cross-legged at the side. The 9 absolute Taos of the immortal. Even my brother has only managed to figure out the 7th absolute Tao. After saying that, the madman immediately covered his mouth and shook his head vigorously. This is something that I can't tell you in detail. There's a Tao oath in my body, so if I tell you in detail, I'll suffer immortal punishment. The madman let go of his hand, but he didn't put it down. Instead, he pinched his nose and swept his gaze across Wang Lin. His current appearance did not seem to be what he had described at all. Wang Lin smiled and didn't ask any more questions. Although he was greedy, he could only advance and retreat. He had already obtained a lot of good fortune from this person. If he continued to be greedy, it would be a bit too much. Also, the 4 incantations required a lot of time for Wang Lin to digest and comprehend each of them. He didn't have any extra time to ask for more spells. In 3 days I'll take you away. Wang Lin pondered for a moment before closing his eyes and starting to cultivate. He knew that time was of the essence, and he had to quickly obtain enough Tao fruit. Only then could he complete his plan and resolve the rejection force that was like a sword hanging over his head. In 3 days, he had to suppress the rejection force in his body to maintain a certain level of strength and complete the few remaining tasks. No, I've already taken you as my master. You can't not teach me a single spell. I don't agree. Hurry up and teach me your spells, or you'll be bullying me. When the madman saw that Wang Lin had closed his eyes, he immediately ran over to Wang Lin and began to roar again. His roars became louder and louder. Eventually, he got tired and sat down across from Wang Lin. You can't bully people like this. You can't bully people like this. I've already given you several divine ability incantations. If you want, you should give me a few as well. One is fine too. Little Red, don't you agree? There's no one like him, bullying this king like this. This king can endure it, but can you, Little Red? Wang Lin opened his eyes and waved his right hand. Immediately, a metal wind appeared and filled the sky. It turned into 9 golden dragons that roared and blew out waves of purple wind. This wind was extremely cold, and the moment it appeared, the earth cracked and froze. This spell, call the wind, I'll teach it to you. The madman looked up at the sky with disdain. Don't try to fool me. I'm not stupid. I'm not going to learn this little spell. Wang Lin waved his right hand and the 9 dragons disappeared. His hand formed a seal and pointed at the sky. The sky darkened and dark clouds gathered, covering the entire sky. Thunderous rumbles echoed and golden rain fell. The moment the rain fell, origin energy gathered. It's raining. Little Red, look, it's raining. The madman was startled. After looking for a while, he yawned and shook his head. Trying to fool me again? What kind of spell is this? I'm not going to learn it. Call the wind, summon the rain, scatter the beans, and mountain crumble. Wang Lin used them one by one, but the madman only took one look before shaking his head. His expression gradually became angry, and he roared at Wang Lin. You old ghost, you're so stingy. Can't you give me some good spells? You've gone too far. Wang Lin stared at the madman and took a deep breath. He used the Heaven Reversal Stamp, Light and Shadow Escape, and even the Tao Spell Fusion that Tao Master Blue Dream had taught him. What is this? You call this Heaven Reversal? I'm not going to learn it. You're completely naked. What kind of spell is this? I'm not going to learn it. This Tao Spell Fusion is too weak. One mouthful of blood from this king is enough. I'm not going to learn it. Wang Lin frowned and slowly said, What exactly do you want to learn? The madman became even more angry and shouted, You just don't want to teach me. I want to learn the spell you used to subdue that big beast. Wang Lin felt a headache coming on. After thinking for a bit, his right hand formed a seal and pointed forward. The cultivation planet suddenly turned into an ocean. At the end of the ocean, the sun slowly appeared. The power of sundered night suddenly appeared. The madman's eyes lit up but soon dimmed. He pouted and shook his head. This is not bad, but I have something even more powerful than this. Impatience gradually appeared in Wang Lin's eyes, and he waved his right hand. The darkness and the sun disappeared and a giant, stone gate appeared. The power of time spread out in all directions. Thunderous rumbles echoed and time rapidly moved as if it was going to pass tens of thousands of years. The madman carefully looked at it for a while and shook his head once more. This stone gate isn't as good as the gate of my mansion. What's there to see? I'm not going to learn it. No matter how good Wang Lin's temper was, he couldn't hold it in anymore. He took a deep breath and displayed all the spells he had learned in his life for the madman to choose. However, in the end, the madman still shook his head. If it was just shaking his head, it wouldn't be a big deal, but the madman was even more angry than Wang Lin. His anger became even stronger and he roared many times. You are an expert, you can't only know these spells. You just don't want to teach me. Enough. Wang Lin interrupted the madman's roar. He laughed from extreme anger and coldly said, The last spell, if you don't want to learn it or not. With that, Wang Lin raised his right hand. He didn't even need to form a seal to use the first spell he had learned, the attraction spell. With his cultivation level, it was too easy for him to use the attraction spell he learned during Qi refinement. The moment the spell appeared, the earth trembled and a giant rock flew into the air. The madman was stunned. He stared at the rock in the air and his eyes lit up. He suddenly stood up, rubbed his eyes and clapped his hands. This is fun, haha, this is fun, I want to learn it. Expert, master is indeed an expert, to have such a great Tao spell. Wang Lin really couldn't be bothered with the madman. He took out a jade slip and imprinted the attraction spell on it. He threw it at the madman and closed his eyes to cultivate. The madman took the jade slip and immediately scanned it. His face lit up with joy as he jumped up and down. In almost an instant, he had learned the gravitational force technique. He let out a strange cry and quickly ran off into the distance. As he spoke, he pointed his finger forward, causing the ground to tremble and a rock to fall. Fun, this is fun. The madman's face was filled with excitement, and he pointed with his finger again, causing dozens of stones to appear. He controlled the stones to spin around his body, and he himself spun along with the stones. In the end, he began to feel dizzy, but his expression was one of excitement, and he continued to laugh. As if this wasn't enough, the madman ran into the distance. He flew into the air and pointed at the earth. Countless cracks appeared in the ground and large rocks flew into the air. They circled around his body no less than 1,000. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. 3 days later, Wang Lin opened his eyes. He gradually hid the golden light in his eyes. If one didn't look carefully, they wouldn't notice it. But when he opened his eyes and looked into the distance, Wang Lin frowned and shook his head with a bitter smile. In the distance, the madman's laughter was filled with anger. There were tens of thousands of rocks around him, surrounding him like soldiers. There were also tens of thousands of rocks in front of him like enemies. He had actually controlled so many rocks to clash with each other in midair. Little girl, you never listen to me. I have an army of tens of thousands. If you dare to disobey me, I'll be angry. After roaring, the madwoman immediately ran to the large number of stones on the other side. She twisted her body and raised her orchid fingers, revealing a charming expression as she spoke in a soft voice. He revealed a charming expression and softly said, "You silver thief, come at me if you have the guts." Wang Lin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Seeing that the madman was having fun, he let out a long sigh and walked forward. Enough, let's go out and play. The madman didn't have enough, but he still excitedly followed behind Wang Lin. From time to time, he would look back at the rocks with reluctance in his eyes, as if he was considering whether or not to take them away. Wang Lin helplessly said, "There are plenty of them outside." The two of them walked further and further away, gradually disappearing from this world. Chapter 1545. How beautiful the outside world is! The little girls outside are so spectacular. There are so many people outside. Bursts of mournful howls echoed in the area where the nether beast was hiding. This voice contained a burst of excitement that seemed to have been suppressed for countless years. Along with the appearance of the voice, a dirty, skinny figure bearing its fangs and brandishing its claws kept roaring as it rushed around the area of rubble. Wang Lin was already used to the madman's noise, so he didn't pay attention to his crazy actions. He silently looked ahead, looked at the stars, and felt the familiar aura. The aura of home. Finally, home. Wang Lin's eyes were filled with melancholy. He had a home. His home was in the brilliant void, his home was in Rosefinch. However, he no longer had a family, only souls. He didn't even know why he had to go home. It wasn't just for Shimizu, for Situ Nan, and the others, but deep in his heart, after thousands of years of wandering, there was an indescribable sense of clarity. It was as if there was a strange force in the brilliant void that he couldn't let go of. Even if he no longer had a family, Wang Lin's eyes were filled with sadness. This sadness filled his entire life as he stared ahead. After a long time, Wang Lin closed his eyes. There were no tears, only sadness. The madman's howls gradually weakened. He looked at Wang Lin with a puzzled expression. He scratched his head and walked forward. His eyes were filled with confusion. He had never seen Wang Lin like this before, but he could faintly feel the sadness from Wang Lin's soul. "Hey, little girl, what's wrong with you? Come and tell this king, did someone bully you?" This king will stand up for you." The madman put his hands on his waist and raised his chin, revealing a mighty appearance. Wang Lin opened his eyes and didn't speak. He shook his head and stepped forward. He walked toward the stars in the distance with heavy step. He walked very slowly and his gaze fell on the stars. Everything here gave him a familiar feeling. The clearer this feeling was, the stronger the melancholy in his heart became. He didn't know why this time he felt even sadder than when he came back from the Luo Tian. Perhaps this time he had experienced too much and walked too far. "Don't be like this, you're making this king feel bad. This king really misses home. Little Red, Little Silver, you two damn fellows, why didn't you come find this king? I miss home, I wanna go home." The madman followed Wang Lin and was slowly affected by Wang Lin's emotions. However, the madman's mood changed very quickly. It didn't take long for him to completely forget about his previous sadness and become excited once more. As he roared, he controlled the surrounding rubble to circle around him and charged forward. He was having a lot of fun. Wang Lin silently walked forward. He slowly buried the sadness and hid his exhaustion. He still had a lot of things to do, so he couldn't rest yet. Looking at the madman playing in the distance but never getting too far away from him, Wang Lin revealed a hint of envy. He envied the madman's happiness. It was as if the madman would forget everything in the blink of an eye and would always find ways to make himself happy. This was something Wang Lin couldn't do. Just like this, the two of them walked deeper and deeper into the stars as the madman's happy laughter and hoarse roars echoed. It didn't take long before a giant cultivation planet appeared before them. This planet was about the same size as planet Tianyun, but the guardian planets around it were far larger than planet Tianyun. Wang Lin had never been to this planet before, so it was a bit unfamiliar. There were circles of ripples faintly reverberating around it, and they emanated the power of restrictions. The entire cultivation planet was completely silent. It was as if it was a dead land, there was no sound at all. As his gaze swept by, the madman also saw the cultivation planet. He immediately cheered, his eyes lit up and he let out a roar. "Wow, wow, wow! So many people, so many little girls. This place is good, this king can finally see other people. Fun, fun." The madman excitedly rubbed his hands as he turned to look at Wang Lin. "I want to go there to play." Wang Lin's gaze swept by the cultivation planet. He didn't attract the attention of any cultivators on the planet, and he clearly saw everything about the cultivation planet. This was a rank 7 cultivation planet with a lot of mortals, and they were divided into nearly 100 countries. There were also a lot of cultivators, but most of them were at the first step. There weren't many second step cultivators. On the surface, the one with the highest cultivation level was at the Nirvana cleanser stage. However, there was a cave at the center of the planet, and there were 4 old monsters that were in closed-door cultivation. The strongest among them was at the 3rd Heaven's Blight, but that was only one person. The other 2 were at the 1st Heaven's Blight. The last person was at the Nirvana Shatterer stage. The power of ice and fire alternated inside the cave at the center of the planet. These people were obviously using the power of ice and fire to suppress their blight in an attempt to slowly pass it. "I have important things to do, so I can't accompany you to play." Wang Lin withdrew his gaze. He knew that no one here could hurt the madman. "No problem, I'll go play by myself. If you follow, this king will feel uncomfortable. Even if you want to follow, this king won't agree." The madman let out a snort. Wang Lin silently pondered for a moment. He looked at the madman with a gentle gaze and slowly said, "Must you go here? You should stay with me. Once I'm done with my business, I'll take you to play." The madman shook his head and looked back at the planet. His eyes were filled with excitement and he muttered to himself, "So many people, this place must be very fun. So many young women, and a lot of cultivators. Haha, didn't I run away to find a place like this to play? I'm not going anywhere else, I'm going here." Seeing the madman's expression, Wang Lin wryly smiled. After pondering a bit, he was still a bit worried. After all, the madman's mind was like that of a child. Even with the immortal body, he would inevitably be deceived. It was fine if he deceived himself, but he wouldn't allow others to deceive this madman. Wang Lin had a clear distinction between kindness and hatred. This madman had given him a great fortune, so he wouldn't allow anyone to harm this madman at all. No. Wang Lin waved his sleeves and a ray of golden light shot toward the madman. The golden light surrounded the madman and took him away. The madman's eyes were immediately filled with anger. He roared and struggled inside the golden light. It was unknown what spell he used, but he escaped from the golden light. He was filled with anger and pride as he roared at Wang Lin. "Damn it, you dare to control this king? Even my big brother can't control me. If this king wants to go play, then I must go. So what if you're this king's teacher? How many teachers does this king have? Let me count, 1, 3, 8. I forget, there are too many. Who dares to control me? I must go play." The madman glared at Wang Lin. He bared his teeth and revealed a fierce expression. Wang Lin coldly stared at the madman. He liked to be quiet, and he wasn't someone who liked to spoil others. When he heard the madman's determined words, he let out a cold snort and reached out with his right hand. A crack to his storage space opened and 2 rays of light flew out. An excited roar came from the first ray of light. "I'm not going back. No matter what, I'm not going back. Every time you need me, you throw me out, and every time you don't, you throw me back. Although I'm a sword spirit, I've contributed a lot to a fiend like you. You can't do this to me." It was the filthy Su Ligua. He flashed out from the light, and when he appeared, he immediately saw the madman. The madman was startled for a moment and then looked at Su Ligua. After the two of them looked at each other for a long time, a head came out from the second ray of light that Wang Lin threw out. It was Lu Jinbiao. Lu Jinbiao carefully looked around and then carefully looked at the madman. He coughed a few times and walked out from the light. "The two of you accompany him and wait for me on this cultivation planet. During this time, don't let him get hurt at all." Wang Lin rarely spoke, or else his words would give off a sense of majesty. After his gaze swept by the madman, Wang Lin turned around and walked into the distance. He thought that with Su Ligua, who had a decent cultivation level, and Lu Jinbiao, who was good at reading people's expressions, the madman should be fine on this cultivation planet. As a result, he was able to relax. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared among the stars toward the Cultivation Alliance headquarters. "Senior Brother Shimizu, Wang Lin is here." After Wang Lin left, the madman and Su Ligua stared at each other. After a long time, both of them spoke at the same time. "Little girl, tell this king, what is your name? Which one are you?" Su Ligua was startled and immediately became angry. He viciously stared at the madman and said, "Who is a little girl? I'm a man." The madman laughed and pointed at Su Ligua. He wanted to say something, but before he could speak, he held his stomach and began to laugh. It was as if he was going to roll on the ground. "You're a man? Ha 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 ha, Little Red, come and see. This sword spirit says he's not a little girl. Ha ha, this king is going to die of laughter. Ah, is it raining? Oh, Little Red, it's raining. Quickly, go get me an umbrella." As the madman muttered to himself, his eyes were filled with confusion. He gradually stopped laughing and stared at Su Ligua. Being stared at by the madman, Su Ligua blinked. His expression was very strange. He looked at Lu Jinbiao, who was still staring at the madman, and gave him a questioning look. Lu Jinbiao's expression was serious as he walked up and looked at the madman. After observing the madman's face for a long time, he looked at Su Ligua and nodded. He revealed a smile, but no matter how you looked at it, this smile was a bit tired. "Madman?" "Yes, a madman, no anchor." Su Ligua and Lu Jinbiao's eyes met, and they slowly turned at the same time, smiling at the madman. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.